Hey guys, Adam aka askcsradical here, and thank you for checking out this episode of the VCR Podcast. For more content, you can visit our Instagram at vcr.podcast. If you are looking for a video version of this podcast, you can visit my YouTube channel at csradical. And if you are coming from the YouTube channel looking for an audio version of the podcast, you can check us out at anchor.fm/VCR Podcast for all available platforms. Thanks for checking us out, guys, and let's get on with the show.
You have entered the realm of the VCR Podcast with your host, Fish.
They're just bastardizing our childhood and the classics.
Chris.
Nintendogs drove me. It's what makes me want to hurt people.
Radical.
People in general still bitch about everything. It still doesn't change.
Let the podcast begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VCR Podcast, the only podcast that predates itself in the moment the title is spoken. I'm Adam aka askcsradical here. I'm suddenly a bottom bitch now on this outline that here it is, so I got these two clowns above me.
Are.
We got the top.
You know, the usual suspects, Chris and Vish here with us. How you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So, this was going to be a good day, and it suddenly isn't because we're kind of devoid of the entire topic of what the show is going to be. So,
Yeah, it was supposed to be today.
yeah, this is going to be a PS5 video, and this just turned into, oh, I guess we're waiting still. So, it's going to be a normal day, and by normal day, I mean probably just the same stupid shit that we always do on the show, so.
It will be, yes.
So, as...
So what do you guys want in the next Madden title?
That's a different kind of stupid shit. We don't get into that stupid shit.
For it to not be about football.
I'm telling you, the Madden podcast will be a
that would be
thing
great.
someday, but it will be a Patreon thing if we ever get that far, because you are not forcing me to do that for free.
Yeah, there's no way
Dude,
I'd talk.
I don't think I can bring myself to do a Madden podcast.
Dude, okay, if it ever comes down the road, there is a Patreon tier that if it's hit, we would be like, yeah, we're willing to do a lot of things for that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're sellouts, but we're sellouts.
Oh yeah, the second someone's like,
Saying
we'll
it.
give you $10,000 a month to talk about Madden, be like,
$10,000 a month? Shit, I'd be doing that for fucking $500.
Yeah, $10,000 a month.
you
Whoa.
cheap slut.
You're also assuming that we're going to be making a lot on Patreon anytime soon, so $500 might be a pretty fair goal.
Fair enough.
$10,000 at $2 a person.
$10,000 a month? Shit, we're
about-
quitting our jobs at that point.
Yeah.
We only talk about Madden when Adam Trump is not around, just to drive us, Adam Radical, insane with murderous rage.
Well, no,
mainly
just-
at my front.
Well, no, driving me with rage just requires you to be on the show. That's a whole different story, so.
Murderous rage, though, that would be the Madden part.
Okay, that's a fair point.
I hope I don't have to witness any of this murder. Because I really don't want to.
No, we can't. We can't physical distancing right now.
Well,
so there'd be
we'll
no
just make
witnessing.
sure that we show you Nintendog, so that way you just join the murder fray.
Do
Oh, good God!
do not.
Welcome to the gaming killer web podcast where
You failed miserably at this bit because you
Yeah.
could not come
Yeah,
up with a title
very much
fast
so.
enough.
I think just psychopaths or something.
So let's
Anything
just
would work.
let's just skeet on by this horrible attempt at an intro and just move on to our actual normal intro where we go through what we've been doing in the last 7 days.
That's a
I'll-
great segue, by the way.
I will kick us off this time because I want to talk endlessly about Phantasy Star
Peter
Online
Parker.
2, aka the 20 hours that I played of it before it suddenly stopped fucking working for me.
20 hours already?
Well,
That
yeah.
only came out like a few days ago, didn't it?
Well, when you have a weekend, you tend to put some
Oh,
time
it was
in there.
before the weekend. Okay.
But yeah, like I'll start with saying what I like about it first, and then I'll get on. Actually, you know what? I'll start with the problems first because it's easier to gush than it is to lament. The problem now is, I mean, we all knew that this was going to be an issue anyway because as soon as we knew that it wasn't going to have its own separate launcher, it was going to run off the Microsoft Store. We all went, "Ooh, that's not a good idea."
No,
And
doesn't work well.
as it turned
Does not
out,
work well.
there was some weird problems coming up because of the Microsoft Store launcher itself. So apparently, and this didn't happen to me, thank fucking God, but apparently what can happen is that after you download the game, it will have an error, and it will say that it didn't actually properly install the game, so you need to actually download and install it again. What it doesn't tell you is that it also doesn't erase what the actually downloaded already, so there's suddenly this extra hard drive space that's being used by a game that you technically never downloaded.
Oh, so it's like, it like allocates the space and it doesn't get rid of that when it installs.
So unless you know exactly where it is, you have to like deadly search for this thing and erase it manually.
Yeah, and it's a Windows 10 game, and those are not like normal exe files. Like they
No.
launch like they're an app out of an app store.
Yeah,
So
I'm
they're in
already getting angry hearing about this.
Yeah, so thankfully, a fan-made launcher that was already being used for Japanese, the Japanese version of the game, and was used to do for the localization that was in there. Because there is an English version in Asia to begin with. So it already had an English version, so they just made it available for North American players now. So you can bypass it. So thank God you can fucking bypass it now. That doesn't solve every problem now, because the problem I have now is that since Monday, I can't log in anymore because it gets stuck at the menu.
What? Okay.
I literally will start the game, and it will stay black. And if you click, you think you finally made it work, and it just, like, the intro screen is just like a globe out in, like, space. And normally it gives you the press enter to go in kind of thing. It never happens. I let it sit for half an hour. It never came. And I tried several times, tried different I tried both the Microsoft and the fan launcher. Hasn't worked. A lot of people are having this problem. So, safe to say, PSO2, despite what I actually like about the game, which I'll get into next, this launch has been nothing short of a fucking disaster for a game that people are already mad that they waited more than a decade for.
Yeah, it took forever to get
So
here.
when did the original game come out?
I might be lying saying it was a decade. I think it was 2012 or something like that. This game's been out in Asia since.
That's close enough to a decade, man.
Yeah.
Like, this Phantasy Star Online 2 just came out this year.
I mean, for us, it came out like literally last week. It's been out since 2012, but for North America, it's basically been here like a week, maybe.
Yeah, and there was hints that it was coming.
I think it came out. I think it came out the 27th of May, but I'm guessing the date here.
Okay.
It was like last Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, something like that.
It was right after we recorded the podcast last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that because Adam was really excited, and that was like his to-do thing.
Fuck yeah, it was. And it was going to be my to-do thing through the rest of this week. And, I mean, I'll find out tomorrow, I guess, if I get a chance to play again. But there's a very good chance that that's not going to happen.
No, it doesn't sound like it's going to.
So
you're going to have to think about backup game. 100%.
Yeah. Although I do have a new 58-inch TV, so I think I'll manage.
I think there's one game Chris is playing that he can certainly recommend to you.
I'm not playing Metal Gear Solid 5.
Why? It's legendary.
It is good.
It may be legendary, but I don't need to replace a time sink with another time sink, because if I start that time sink, I won't want to go back to the other time sink.
Also, good point. Don't have multiple time sinks. It doesn't work.
I will find something casual.
Yeah, you got to have like a time sink, and then you can have one or two casuals on the side. For anyone who would only hear this as an audio thing and take it out of context, it sounds like I'm talking about dating. That's not what I mean. I'm talking games.
No, we know what you really mean, Chris. That was clearly a dog whistle. We know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like it's been frustrating, but it's what makes it even more annoying is because I've really enjoyed my time with the game so far. I mean, fuck, like I've put in, like I said, about 20 hours in, and as a guy who hasn't played an old school MMO in a while, because I mean the last time I really did was when I tried the Final Fantasy 14 free trial, and this would have been like maybe 4 years ago. I haven't been into like old school MMOs in a long time because I mean on PlayStation there's no point in playing a game like that. So I've always been like doing other stuff. I mean Destiny also took so much time out, so that was my MMO for a while.
Destiny. Not MMORPG. Destiny. I was gonna say Destiny was more.
Destiny
really
is an MMORPG, but it's an MMO inside of a first-person shooter. It is definitely an MMO with the amount of grinding and shit you do in that game. That is the crux of an MMO in a total nutshell. Go do the same thing over and over and over and over again, just praying for that one rare weapon.
Yeah. It is massive, it is multiplayer, and it is
online.
I mean, the upside to a game like Destiny, though, was always that it's a lot more interactive, because, I mean, it being a first-person shooter, there's a lot more involvement to it. It's not just click, pay attention to your meter, and then click again. It's a matter of, okay, there's a lot of things that you can do on the side. So I found that to be a good way of going at it. But going back into an old-school game, PSO2 has kind of done a really good job of at least of making it possible for me to kind of get back to my roots and just go back to the old like point and click. And even so, this game still has a very active role to it. This isn't just your simple like World of Warcraft click and just kind of pay attention. Like this one, it's very active and moving. Like my class right now is that I believe it's called a Braver, and it has, I was telling Chris, I don't know if I told you, Vish, about it, but the way that it works is that you have 3 different sets of weapons that it gives you. And normally how it works is that you have like basically one weapon and you just go with that. Like if you're a archer, you're an archer. If you're a swordsman, you obviously fight with swords. This time around, it's just full on like go nuts. You have I have a bow for range combat. I have obviously and then I have other short range stuff. I have a katana for close range, and I also have a gun pistol, or not a gun pistol, a sword pistol combination if I want to have like a mix. And I don't really use the sword pistol mix that much because I find it really well balanced just to have the bow when I want to stay away from enemies.
Is it a gun blade or?
I mean, I guess it's more of a pistol than that, and also Gunblade is a Final Fantasy thing, so I won't.
That's what I mean.
I won't attach it to Squall because I don't say whatever all the time when I'm talking to people in this game.
Whatever.
But yeah, like I find a pretty good balance of being able to go out there and use the bow when I really want to keep things away from me, and then if especially when there's like a big cluster of smaller enemies, I will just slice and dice the fuck out of whatever's around me. And that's worked out really nice. So, like, I'm level 35 so far. I think the cap might be 50. It might be higher. I haven't gotten that far to find out. And I'm still doing...
I thought you said cat.
I'm still doing, like, basic... No, I would not say cat.
A level cat.
No, you could have had a battle cat, like He-Man does.
What would my level have to do with it?
No, you said the cat is...
The level cat.
The level of the cat.
Whatever, we're gonna get we're stopping this aside. Let me get back to my fucking shit.
Okay.
But yeah, like I haven't really done anything too crazy. Like I haven't done like a raid or anything yet. I don't even know what there is on that because I've just been kind of paying attention to just doing the basic stuff, which for the most part is just like exploration. So you get new maps that you just go around. You fight shit. There are like random events that happen there, whether it's like protecting a convoy or there's like this big boss that randomly shows up. And once in a blue moon, if in the home world, there will be like these random events that pop up too. There's also stupid non-battle events that happen. Like there's at some point randomly in the hub world, there are concerts that legitimately happen. So they have their own idol that goes up there like a Japanese idol and performs a song on stage. Apparently, if you say encore enough in the chat, she'll do a second song.
Oh, wow.
And the song actually gives you a boost. So yeah, it is actually worthwhile to go and at least be there for a moment.
There's a point to it, yeah.
And then there's also stuff like they'll bring in battle things. So they'll say, oh, we're about to be under attack, and you'll get put onto this ship. And this one I'm a little bit weirded out by because I think it's a bit strange to be putting in there. Because what it is that you get put on a top of a ship, so apparently you can just breathe even though you don't have a helmet on you, even though you're in space. But we'll cast that logic aside.
Yeah.
And you fight like these set of like giant arms, and they're usually pretty easy to kill if there's like somebody in that party group that's just overpowered. So sometimes like the first time I went into one, it took like 10 seconds. I was like, what the fuck was this? And then I did like a harder version and realized, oh, okay, no, there's actually some challenge in this if you don't go in there in the easy one and a guy who's level fucking max is in there just literally just destroying shit.
Yeah.
But eventually, if you do it enough times, or like collectively the entire hub world does it enough times, you'll actually face a proper final boss and you'll get some pretty sweet loot for that too. Or they'll put you on a map and there's just like, you have to just take out like 1,000 enemies in a certain time limit. And it's just total chaos. The map's like pretty big, so there's like a cluster there, there's a cluster there, there's a cluster there. Sometimes they're big bosses, sometimes it's just like 50 enemies all at once. So it ends up being a pretty balanced like thing, and so far I've enjoyed it for what it was. Now I haven't played with a group yet, so I haven't had that experience. But in terms of when it comes to the hub world, when it comes to the battle system, when it comes to character customization is pretty crazy with not even counting costumes that you can pay money for. Like even just with what they give you, it's quite good. They give you quite a lot of options to go with. And yeah, like I haven't even had the chance to try other classes yet. I mean, they gave me a subclass, that you can use, and all I did was just pick one that can give me heal spells, because I figure, okay, if I'm playing solo, it'd be nice to have just heal spells in case I need them.
Oh yeah.
But
super
like,
important
once
one.
I max out that character's class level, I'll definitely be trying the other classes and seeing what the rest of them are all about. But at this point, it's pretty much just down to, okay, I'm like just getting used to it still, and kind of getting my feet wet, because it's been a while since I've played these kind of games. But so far, I don't feel like I'm being forced to spend money yet. Mind you, I haven't hit the level cap. I haven't gotten to raid moments yet, so... But at this point, I don't feel like there is this overemphasis on trying to push you towards it. I think it's very fair, and just, if you want to play this for free, you can just do what you got to do. And there's enough daily stuff that you can do that will get you some nice rewards that I think it keeps you coming back for even like an hour every day if you wanted to. So I think they've done a pretty good job so far in terms of the game itself of keeping people invested. It's just a damn shame that Microsoft can't seem to make a functioning app for it.
Yeah. The thing that I'm taking away that I heard you say is you said you're already level 35?
Yeah, if you do,
50?
they give you a lot of quests, especially because it probably had a lot to do too with the special events that come in, because I did the first time I did it, I just kept doing it until it told me not to, so I must have done it like 20 times. So I was just racking shit up. But I think it's also because it's one character, in the same vein of like what Final Fantasy XIV does, where your character may be this level, but there's then also like all these classes that you can then level up to that also add on to it. So I imagine if I say change from a Braver to, I can't think of what all the other classes are, but let's say I want to go a mage class, I imagine my stats are nowhere near as high again, so I'd have to go train myself back up.
You go back down to level 0.
So even if I do hit the level cap, I don't know if it necessarily means that it's
Will there be prestige levels, like you're level 51 but you're like prestige level
I don't think it's going to be a Call of Duty thing. I think it's just straight up you'll hit your level cap, and then you start working on your classes. Then if you max out all your classes, then in which case I guess you're waiting for the expansion to up the cap again.
Yeah, it'll be whatever they release as an expansion next, usually, because every time they do, they'll increase the level cap by like 20 or 10 or something.
Yeah,
I just thought it was pretty cool that you were already able to get to level 35 in like 20 or so hours of gameplay. Final Fantasy XIV, it was level 50 in the beginning, and it took me 200 hours to get through all of the story quests, and like it was only like a few quests before the last one I actually hit level 50. Like, it took a while. And if you switch classes, you go back down to level 1.
Yeah.
So
oh shit.
I mean,
so it's definitely like a lot.
Do you have to stick to one class? Like, if you're an archer, you're an archer. If you're a swordsman, you're a swordsman.
Well, like I said,
Yeah,
because it gives you the option
can't
of 3 weapons, you're not tied to a single weapon. So thankfully, if you want to be an archer, you can still be a swordsman without having to have 2 classes. So it's
just would be more proficient as an archer than you would be as the other skill set.
Well, no, like you have the same proficiency in whatever weapons you have. So like if a braver can use a bow, a katana, and a let's just call it a gunblade because it's easier for people to understand. There's no like level proficiency, but there is like skills that you can unlock. So you can like make, like for example, most of my points have been going into the bow class because I tend to use it more often. But like I've made it so that because you can either rapid fire it or you can hold it back and get extra damage. I usually hold back, so I've put a lot of points into that aspect to make sure the damage rolls on that are higher. I haven't put nearly as much in some of the others, but like my katana damage for certain like strikes, they end up doing more damage. So there are definitely ways to customize it to your liking to be a little bit higher in some aspects. But generally speaking, if you want to literally balance between all 3 weapons, there's not really that much of a penalty for it. And I mean, you're constantly getting an influx of new rarities and better weapons. So, and you can also infuse older weapons to make the current one that you're on even better. So, and you can uncap that as well. So if you really like a certain weapon, like if just the roll on it ends, and this is obviously much later in the game when you start getting to like super rare tiers of weaponry, you can just keep uncapping it.
You can be a jack of all trades character. You would be skilled in various aspects, but you wouldn't really master any particular.
You can essentially, at the end of the day, have literally every class maxed out, every subclass maxed out. The only difference is you're still only picking one class and one subclass for when you're playing. It's not like you can't just switch to classes on the fly. It's not that. If you're going into a raid as a braver, you're going to be a braver for the entirety of that raid.
Yeah. But it's a little bit different than 14, because in 14, it's your class is attached to your weapon. So if you have a bow and a sword, while you're using the bow, you're an archer. if you equip the sword, you become a knight or a samurai or whatever one of the classes.
Does your level change when you switch weapons?
Yes.
In this
so you can
game,
be like a
it
level
doesn't.
50
Your level is its own separate thing, and then your subclass is its own thing. That's the only two things. The weapons have no level tied to them. You will just either infuse them or upgrade them just to increase their damage and maybe their elements and stuff.
So to sound like a complete doorknob, it's like when you're in university, you choose a major, but you have a minor attached to it.
Yeah, that's essentially what a class and subclass is.
Okay.
Yeah. This is making me want to play an MMO now. Just what I need.
And it's worked out pretty great. I think once I get a really good run into it and kind of max out something, then I can start to figure out, okay, how can I use that as more of a casual thing that I can keep coming back to rather than going head on into it all the time. That's kind of my goal. I mean, thankfully it's so dead right now that I can definitely spend a lot of time and really flesh this out and then see where that goes. But for the time being, like I said, I fucking love it. It's just a goddamn shame that Microsoft botched the shit out of it.
Yeah, it does not sound
like if this was on Steam, we wouldn't have this problem.
No, and it'll probably end up there. Microsoft ends up putting most of their stuff on there, but actually no, but they're doing it kind of like same day now. It'll release on the Microsoft Store and Steam and Xbox One same day.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting they only chose the Windows Store. Maybe because they knew it wasn't working well.
All right, I don't know. Because I guess it's because it's an Xbox thing. It originally started on Xbox, so maybe they just said, well, we're not going to put it on other platforms yet because it's ours.
Yeah. Want to actually have an exclusive.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, that's really the only thing I've got going so far because that's really all I've been doing the last 7 days. So let's go with you, Chris. What have you been up to?
So I finished Transistor, the game I was playing last week, that indie game made by Super Giant Games, I think they're called. Same people who made Bastion. And a couple other games since, like Pyre and something else, which I haven't played yet.
You also played that, is Transistor that puzzle game that's like Sudoku, or?
No, that's Picross. No, that was a few episodes ago. I finished that, and I haven't bought any of the sequels yet. They're like $4, and they tempt me. But
maybe because I've been just so like scrambled, I don't think I've heard you mention Transistor before.
I think he did last week. Yeah.
Yeah, last week I mentioned it. Yeah, it's an indie game, top down. I own it on Steam. I've had it on Steam forever. It was probably like $2, so I bought it. But it was on Switch for 99 cents, so bought it. And I ended up just playing it there. It was really, really good. It was one of those ones where you start the game and you're just right in the gameplay, and it's like you're just the main girl, Red, picking up a sword out of a dead body, and the sword's talking to you, and you just kind of go on about your business. And the story starts to unfold as you progress. And then when you beat it, you've kind of got all of the bits to know what the story is, but you got to put it together yourself. And even then, there's still enough that it's up to interpretation, and it sparks a lot of like conversation online. So I quickly went on like Reddit, and I quickly went to the Transistor forums on Steam, and I was like, what happened? I don't what like.
That's a really cool. That's a really cool story concept.
Yeah. It was a really cool way of doing it, storytelling. The game was not too hard. I don't think I died even once. It was really neat the way they did the game. So when you take damage, your health goes down, but you can equip powers, and you can have up to 4 at a time. And then if you have more powers, you can actually like add a power on top of another one. So you upgrade the power to be like increased damage, or instead of it being one line of an energy beam, you now have 3. But every time your health goes down to 0, you lose one of your powers temporarily for 2 save points. So, you can have 4 really good ones, but it's possible if you lose your health, you'll lose your favorite attack for like, 2 save points is a couple battles. Usually it's like 1 small save point between each big battle. So you kind of want to plan ahead of time. I never died because the only way to die is to actually lose all 4 of your equipped powers. So you lose your health, I guess, 4 times, because after the 4th one, like, you can't even attack, so it would be over anyways. I'd never had that happen. I did have it sometimes where 2 of my powers I lost, but I still had 2 left and was still able to beat whatever boss or whatever I'm in. It was not a very long game. I think I beat it in about 7 hours total, and I was not rushing through it. I was doing some of the side stuff. But it was definitely like, it's a good game. Like, the music is phenomenal.
It's one of those I have a day off and I have nothing to do games.
Yeah.
Was it Darren Korb that did the one for this one too? Because I know he did Bastion.
Is he the designer or who's he?
No, the music guy.
I don't know. Oh, music. Yeah, it's the exact same music, same musical guy, even same voice talents. A lot of the same voices from Bastion were in this one, and especially the girl who sings in the Bastion songs. It was her again.
Nice.
That I could hear. I didn't check their names or anything, but like it was unrecognized. It was recognizable. Sorry, right away. Like there was no way it wasn't them. As soon as you heard the songs, like, oh, cool, it's the Bastion soundtrack, but a little more sci-fi, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic game. Played through it, and even though it is short, there's no way to unlock everything in one playthrough, so you can play through it again, and then you actually earn I can't remember, limiters, I think they're called, and if you equip them, it makes the enemies harder, it makes you weaker, but you gain like plus 10% to experience, so you can keep leveling up. I beat the game on level, I want to say I was level 12. And you can actually go up to level 36, I think, is the max. So you can play through it a few times. And there's a new game plus, and it gets harder and harder and all this other stuff. So I'm not going to do that because I have a backlog and I don't have time. But I would be tempted at some point to go back, reload my save, and start it again and go through it.
Yeah, it's also the kind of game, too. Same with Bastion, where it's just a game that if, like, you're not really sure what you want to do, you just want to do something. Like, it's just a game that you can pop in and just kind of just mess with.
Yeah, and it was perfect because the weather got really nice in the last week, and there's very few places I can go around my condo. I live basically in a concrete jungle. So I'd go out on my balcony, I'd bring a drink or something, go sit. It would be nice and warm, even if it was the evening or like my lunch break from work or whatever it may be. And I'd bring my Switch and just game for an hour or two in the sun. Like
the Switch is so great to have right now.
Yeah,
I don't have one right now, but it's so great because it's like you said, if it's nice outside instead of just like sitting in the shade or like in the living room or like in the basement, you just go outside and just chill. And you're outside, you're enjoying the nice weather, but it's like it's not like you can just chill.
Yeah,
but
if
Vish,
I had your back, yeah.
But Vish, is it a Game Gear Micro?
We'll talk about that in a minute. I think we should bring that up.
Fucking Sega. Fuck, I used to love you so much. Yeah, no, Vishal, if I had your backyard, me and the Switch would be on that back patio like all the time.
Yes, I just got a pool today.
Oh, yeah?
Sick. We got a little kiddie pool? Yeah.
No.
One of those little inflatable ones? Yeah.
Okay, it's an adult-sized inflatable pool.
Good
There's
enough.
An inflatable elephant head on it, but still.
Wait. Is there a slip and slide?
So, Chris, you were saying.
Fuck.
Damn it. So that's one of the games that I played through, beaten. The only other game I've played, and it's not because I haven't been playing, it's because this game is a time sink. It's Metal Gear Solid 5. I've gone back into it. I only took a break before because I had the PS Now, and that was kind of like a time-limited thing, and I had to play. I didn't end up finishing Last of Us by the time it ran out, and I wasn't willing to drop another $12.99 just to finish that game.
Yeah.
Because I figure when I eventually get the PS5, I can probably pick up Last of Us Remastered, which will look a little nicer.
Or I'll just give you my copy on the PS3, because it should be backwards compatible for that game.
No, I don't think PS5 will be PS3 backwards compatible. Like, not physical discs, at least, I don't think.
Well, fuck me.
Yeah, I think it'll be PS4, but not PS3, I don't think.
Well, I'll figure out a way for you to play it.
Yeah. So anyways, I went back into Metal Gear Solid 5. I've beaten Chapter 1, or the original end game of the game. It's kind of hard to explain.
You beat the Infinity Wars.
Yeah, like it's very interesting because I can't tell why they made the game like this. It's almost like they had finished it and they were like, we didn't do a really good job. We should probably add more to it to finish off the story or something.
Chapter 1 was fucking incredible.
Yeah, it was great. Like, if they had ended it at Chapter 1, I would have been like, yeah, no, good enough. I like that.
Come on.
It took me 60 hours.
Did you think Kojima was just going to stop at a smart ending?
Yeah, holy fuck. Yeah, so it just keeps going. But the good thing is, I figured out, like, you only have to do the main missions. There's side ops, or the side missions and the main missions. that are highlighted in yellow, and those are only the story ones. There's all these other ones they added where it's, doing a mission from chapter 1, but it's a lot harder, and I'm not doing that. Fuck that. I don't want to do that. So I'm managing so far. I haven't got as far as Vishal made it yet, but I'm so far doing side ops and the main missions and skipping ahead.
The thing is that you did finish the main story, and you got to the parts that I told you just completely fuck with you.
Yes. I can't even remember where I was last week when I probably started back up, but
no, because I messaged you like when I say these parts fuck with you, it's not like Silent Hill disturbing. They disturb me more because it was real life shit.
Yeah, it's definitely real life stuff that's happened for sure. Is possibly still happening.
Oh, it's definitely happening.
It has to do with like wars and who they bring in as soldiers and all this other stuff. It's very intense. Very cool too. I mean, obviously there's still the Metal Gear Solid flair to it where there's like people with powers. There's always people with fucking powers. Like, I'm from a Russian facility and I just had gained some powers because that's
why. Did you like kind of sympathize with Skullface?
Kind of. I don't know. Yeah. The only thing I have with Skullface is I see they tried to connect it to the other Metal Gears, but they brought him in and it's like, I've been behind the scenes the whole time. It's like,
I didn't doing like that part. I saw him as like, on his own, like that. He was like on his own, like he wasn't like, it wasn't like Liquid or Ocelot. I saw him like he was on his own.
Yeah, he was definitely on his own. I think the only gripe I have with this when it comes to him is you only see him in like 6 or 7 total missions ever. So I don't sympathize with him as much, only because I didn't get enough time with him to get to know what his grievances were. It was like the final mission. He has that heart-to-heart with you while you sit in the back of the car and drive towards like Metal Gear, basically.
Yeah.
And you learn all of it, but you learn it all at once, and then it's the final mission of chapter 1. And it's kind of like, I wish I knew more of this and they'd spread it out and like added more to the story.
Yeah, that you have a point, because that would have complicated your emotions during that game. It would have been like, wow, am I really doing the right thing here?
Yeah. Like they could have, because that's what it would have been about. Like, is this guy even really that bad? But they would have had to spread it out instead of like right before you have to deal with the boss battle of the end of chapter 1. It's like, maybe I needed to know this shit before. Maybe I should have learned all this stuff before. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been better story-wise.
Oh, he wasn't a good guy. And you played Ground Zeroes, am I correct?
Yeah, but Ground Zeroes I did not like. I found it a lot harder than Phantom Pain for some reason. I don't know if it was
Phantom Pain wasn't easy.
No, Phantom Pain was not easy. Ground Zeroes nearly killed me. Like, getting through it, when I finally beat it, I was like, I'm never fucking touching this again. I played the 3 or 4 hours it took to just beat the few main story missions that were in there. I beat it. I saw the bit of story. I loved the cinematics, but the gameplay, I found it really fucking hard. And I checked online, and apparently a lot of people were like, Phantom Pain is not as hard as Ground Zeroes. They must have fixed the difficulty or something before releasing that game, because Ground Zeroes was ridiculously hard.
Okay, so from what I hear, Ground Zeroes is a essentially an interactive prequel movie to Phantom Pain.
Kind of, yeah.
If you played Ground Zeroes, you would understand the story or the characters a little more in Phantom Pain.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, but let's be honest, it was a demo that you paid way too much money for.
Yeah, it was definitely like a demo. It just explained why when you start Metal Gear Solid 5, you're in the hospital. Yeah. And that there is a guy named Skullface. And that's it. Oh, and why some of the characters from Peace Walker are not there anymore.
Okay, so when I first I tried, I have Ground Zeroes. And I played it very briefly because I'm like, this kind of sucks. Like, I have it, and I've never finished it.
Yeah.
And then when Phantom Pain
finished
comes
it,
out,
it was like 2 missions.
Yeah. Phantom Pain comes out, and I'm like, wait, I thought that was Metal Gear Solid 5. And then I hear this one is like, oh, it's so great, it's so great, it's so great. I'm like, I'll give it some time. 4 years later, I'm like, wow, this is fucking legendary.
Yeah. So my final verdict for Metal Gear Solid 5, I don't think I can give it a perfect 10 because the concept of perfect 10 is I wouldn't change anything. I'd give it like a 9.9 because I would adjust the how they deliver the story. I'd either add a bit more story or takes all, like, there's a ton of story that happens in one mission, spread it out a bit. Because I found when I first started the game, I was finding the first few hours rough because it's like, you wake up in the hospital and there's this huge like 1.5 hour like intro, which is just insane, amazing.
Oh,
It's like cinema.
So
like
great. Adam, I
it's
think you
so
played
good.
that part, right?
I don't remember much of it, to be honest.
When you wake up in the
hospital,
hospital
in the
from a
beginning.
coma.
Oh, the beginning. Well, I mean, again, loosely, because I haven't played that game in like 3 years. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that first hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever escaping that hospital is like perfect game. Like insane how good that was. Like my heart was racing. But then they drop you off in Afghanistan, and it's like 3 more hours until like I had an actual mission that had any story in it. And I was like, why am I just being hired to go like pick up a random person and bring them out of a town?
When you save that one character with the mechanical legs,
Yes.
that's when
Yeah.
the game completely changes.
Yeah. And that was my only issue with that is I think that was mission 10. And
Yeah,
so
it took a while for the story to
takes-
really take pace.
Yeah, exactly. So the game, phenomenal, especially once from mission 10 and on, I was hooked and I just wanted to keep playing. I haven't put it down, and I don't even ever, because I beat Transistor, I haven't even touched my Switch or any other game minus playing with you guys, obviously. And I hope to have it done probably within the next week, probably by next month.
So you're continuing it.
I am hoping to actually finish it because there is, like, that's how you get, I guess, the true ending by beating chapter 2, and you reveal the rest of the story. Like, I just found out who Quiet is and what she's doing and why, like a bunch of that stuff. Which
did
I
you
would say
see did you see that cutscene with her on the base? How painful it was to watch that one.
the one where she goes after the necklace. I'm trying to be as like,
The knife.
oh yes, oh yeah. Because I think that was in chapter 1. Yeah, that was near the end of chapter 1.
I'm just sitting here, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm being as vague as possible. You haven't seen it.
I'm more just like, I don't know what this means, so why am I listening? Don't worry, this will happen. This will happen to you pretty soon when Chris starts playing Yakuza, because I know that's what he's looking at next.
You wanted to play this, so I'm trying to be as vague as possible.
Yes, but I don't need you to spend 20 minutes being vague, because I'm like, I can't talk, I can't do much.
Basically, it's a really, really good game. The story pacing at the beginning is rough. Not rough, just it's slow. Like, it takes a while. They should have had more story missions or something in the beginning that added to the story. That's my only gripe with it. And once you hit mission 10 until like I'm on mission 34 or 35, 36, somewhere around there, it's just like you're hooked. Like, it's addicting at that point. Super good. But yeah, that's it. That's all I played. Just those 2 games.
All right, Vish, what haven't you done?
So you are correct. So yeah. Unfortunately, I've had to take care of a lot of things this week, so my gaming has been less than 0. Mine is playing Left 4 Dead with a Left 4 Dead 2 with a group of assholes.
So what you're saying is we get for the another week in the row being like, fucking watch The Expanse and play Horizon, goddammit.
Yes.
Yeah.
One show I have been watching and is the new show on Netflix called Space Force with Steve Carell, made by the guys who made The Office.
I've heard it's so bad.
It's not good.
Yeah, I saw the first 2 episodes and I can't continue.
I'm like, at best I'm chuckling.
And that's saying something from the guy who fucking loves The Office.
Yeah, I love The Office. I think Steve Carell's hilarious. I think he's a great actor. And I'm watching and I'm just like, it's not even the fact that it's like, because there's no laugh track, you don't know when to laugh. It's like, what's going on? It's like, you don't even know if Steve Carell's character is trying to be ironic or anything, or if he's like, if he's being serious. Like, it's just like, it's just not good.
Like, I was so surprised when like basically every major like news outlet was saying, yeah, this is just unfunny. I'm like, that's surprising. Because you would think that there'd be somebody, even if it wasn't funny, say that it was because it's taking a shot at Trump. I'm surprised that it's not. They're not even people like with a political bias coming out and saying, "Oh, it's so good, it's taken so many pot shots." I'm like, no, they're all saying it's unfunny. That's a bad sign.
It's not even because of like when it was really because it got released at a really bad time, unfortunately. But it's not. It's just it. I'm literally like I want to laugh at it, but I'm just like, huh.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it would have mattered. You could have put out the best time in the world. It still wouldn't have been that funny.
You're literally. It's just not. It's just not good.
Yeah. And it sucks.
This is a star cast. Like,
yeah,
you have Sonic the Hedgehog, you have Phoebe, you have Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Like,
and the Asian guy from Silicon Valley, the Asian actor, I can't remember his real name.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I've never seen Silicon Valley. I think that's one show I really need to get into because
Expanse first.
Yeah, Expanse first.
Fair enough.
He keeps telling us all these shows he's been watching, and he still hasn't picked the one we keep fucking telling him to watch.
I know. I know.
It's gonna happen, and one day you're gonna talk about how much fucking Shohreh Aghdashloo is just like the fucking best actress you've ever seen.
Possibly. Yeah. But I think it's gonna get a second season just because of the cast.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't be
surprised.
Amount
of work they put into it, and it could be like The Office season 1 wasn't great either.
That's also true.
It did have a few bright moments, but The Office season 1 wasn't great. If you look back at it, it's like, oh, how the hell did this become one of the best sitcoms of all time? Because season 2 was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it'll have a second season just because of the star power, but if it doesn't, do not be surprised because it's just not good.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go off topic because
you go off topic. That's such a shocking development.
I know, but this is one thing that I want to mention because I feel like this is a big part of us, all of us. So the NBA is coming back. They
for God's sakes!
But no. The one thing I want to mention is the way the NBA is coming back. Vince Carter has officially played his last game in the NBA. He never got the farewell in Toronto that he deserved. Despite how he left, despite everything that happened, I think this guy is the reason we still have the Raptors. Because there was a point the Raptors were so bad, like even like so painfully awful to watch that it could have been like the Grizzlies where they got relocated. Vince Carter, basically his presence stopped that from happening sooner than later. And I feel that one day he's going to have his number retired by Toronto. He's going to be respected by Toronto. I think his overall legacy is overrated because the guy has never really accomplished much in his career besides a lot of all-star games and longevity. But I just want to say that, like, respect the legacy because Vince Carter is the guy that essentially saved the Raptors from becoming extinct. So that's all I really want to say. I really, unfortunately, I don't have much to say because I've had a lot to do in my personal life lately. So, but one thing I'll say.
Oh boy.
Sorry, who is this?
Yeah, who just?
She's alive, guys.
If there was any semblance of this podcast staying on track, I think that went away now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What were we talking about?
Nothing important because he took a gaming podcast and suddenly started talking about sports. So I don't think if we had anybody watching now, I think they just turned it off.
They're like, fuck this. No interest.
But one thing I want to say also right now is, guys, if you can, support local businesses. That's all.
I'd love to, but you know, I kind of make that I don't have that much money kind of money. So if small businesses want me to get stuff, make it easy for me.
I get that, but I just want to point it there. So Brittany, since you interrupted, what have you been doing, and why aren't you on video?
I actually forgot that this was come on Discord, and I'm in the bath. So
well then.
So why aren't you on video?
Vish, we
Wow.
haven't started up the VCR Podcast OnlyFans account yet, okay? Relax.
Oh,
Relax.
that's
I'm not
Brittany's OnlyFans
OnlyFans.
account.
What?
That's your OnlyFans
Fuck that
account.
shit. I want to make some money too.
Guys, I'm not even gonna lie. I made an OnlyFans account and I had it for like 2 days, and then I was like, wait a minute, I have self-respect.
Wait, what?
What are you
Do you
talking
though?
about? You
Do
do
you?
not have self-respect. You hang out with us.
Oh,
That
This
is
is-
true.
This is
But yeah, since you casually just, like kind of just strolled into our DMs here, what have you been up to in the last
Swam
7
up.
days?
you just swam in.
Literally just working a lot. Like I'm back to my regular job, working 10 to 6, and then coming home and grooming extra dogs. And I just do that and play Animal Crossing, and that's it.
So how's the Animal Crossing going?
Oh, good. Oh, actually, and I got back into boxing. I'm doing that on Monday and Wednesdays.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
very nice.
Yeah.
With Kylie, right?
Yeah, we're doing private lessons.
I know Kylie really
Oh.
well.
Well, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's a good way of doing it.
Nobody else knows who
Considering
Kylie
this-
is.
Ask her about me. She knows me.
Okay, I'm like, yo, you know that fuckface fish?
Alright. Well-
yeah.
Well, we've gone to sports rants. Now we're doing personal talks. Now I don't know what the fuck this podcast is anymore. That's gonna. You know what? You know what? Fuck this.
To share on this podcast, but I was like, whatever. It's always inappropriate. Hey, remember that story I told you guys about the brave little toaster?
Oh no.
Oh my god.
So
Yes.
my client dropped off their dog today. It's like someone that I've been conversing through Instagram with, and when she came up with the dog, she came up with her fiance, and it was that guy.
What?
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you tell me this story again? I
No,
don't
we are
remember
not doing this on the show.
No, we can't do that on the
For
show.
fuck's
Okay, I can
sake.
tell you
That's
after.
why I
We'll
got
remind you
to
after.
A small story. Anyway, back on track to what you guys were talking about.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I thought that
Brittany.
we lost all our fans while we were talking about the Toronto Raptors of all things on a gaming podcast. And now we're trying to do inside stories that literally no one other than the, let's be honest, 3 people in this room, because I don't know what the fuck we're talking about anymore.
Yup.
Yeah. Brittany, have you caught any of the new bugs and fish in Animal Crossing now that it's June?
I have all the bugs except for I can't remember the one that you can only get on palm trees, whatever that one is.
Oh, I haven't got that one.
I have I got the great white shark, the saw shark, tilapia, the one that starts it's in the river, it starts with an A. I've got the piranha.
Oh, wow. You got a lot of them.
Yeah, I've been like crossing them off on a list on my phone.
Oh, hardcore Animal Crossing right there. That is the hardcore version. Lists
I
on
don't
your phone.
understand how to do that new thing with the wedding when you go to Harb's Island.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. Guys, so in Animal Crossing, they added weddings for the month of June. Yeah.
Yeah, no, PSO2 is doing
What?
it as well. Japan, like, they have a pretty big fascination with wedding culture, so
Is it
it might actually be, because if Phantasy Star Online 2 is doing it as well, it would make sense, to be honest.
Yeah, because it started like June 1st, and you can like craft wedding stuff, and there's these 2 sheep, I think, that get married.
They're llamas.
What?
Right, they're llamas. I don't know. I haven't seen them yet.
So
No
yeah,
drama,
apparently June is wedding season for Japan.
Wow. All right.
So that would
Wow.
be why.
That would make sense. So if anyone is from Japan listening, happy wedding season.
So nobody.
Who knows? Maybe that's where we'll break out the podcast and become the most famous.
I
Like
mean,
the
look,
Venga Boys.
look. If there is
We're
any
big
place
in
outside of
Japan.
North America that
We're
I will
big in
take,
Japan.
Japan is definitely that place I would take.
Oh yeah, that's like the holy land of video games.
Adam, I know how you feel about travel, but I did see on Red Flag Deals that Air Canada is having some
Fuck Air
really good
Canada.
deals on Japan trips.
Yeah,
in
that's
October.
wonderful. Let me take my tons of money that I still don't have anyway, along with my fuck travel on coronavirus calendar that I have here that says I ain't going nowhere for a while. It doesn't even have dates on it. It just says not going anywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say, what's on your calendar? Like, what a weird calendar.
Fuck
to have.
all.
It's so
That's why.
specific.
It's like it's a 12-page calendar, and everyone's like, "Fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this."
Yeah, really.
No, it's
Yeah,
just
that's-
you,
yeah.
it's January. Fuck all. Next one. Fuck all. Next one. Fuck all. Next one. Did you not read the last three? Fuck all.
Yeah, it's just like
Good.
work.
Quarantine day
study, more
93. Made a fuck off calendar.
work.
All right, well, that's what we've all been playing and doing. That was a really good segment.
And
guys.
apparently in the bath too.
Yes.
Can
Wait, you guys
play
aren't in the bath?
I hope
Brittany,
not
you're
because
playing-
I don't actually. You know what? Wait. If we can hear water sounds, would that actually like suddenly make us into like more of an ASMR thing? Would this get some horny guys to start? Brittany, start bottling your bath water and start selling it.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Brittany.
don't bottle. Oh, God. How did that girl actually sell it? Oh.
'Cause she-
Oh, that
well,
was
I can tell you. I can
frustrating.
tell you exactly how that girl sold it. It's because she's a cosplayer and she got them big old titties.
That was a sad day for gaming. That was a sad day.
No,
Wait,
that's
what?
a- that's a
People
s-
buy bath water just because I have big tits?
No,
This
I mean,
I mean, have you seen the
See,
internet? Usually,
yeah.
big tits is like the only reason we
Brittany,
get on up in the morning for
Brittany.
stuff.
Listen, that girl will tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. So, Brittany, follow that fucking bathwater you're in right now.
Vishal, that was super motivational.
We're
I don't
we're
know
gonna
how.
make millions
I think I'm gonna go start my bath.
of
Like, I don't even know.
lawsuits.
Of lawsuits.
I have a horrible joke that I just cannot say right now.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
God.
you're not going to.
This
And you're
podcast
not
is
going
our.
to.
This I'm literally gonna title the show. I don't even fucking know anymore.
And that sounds about right.
So why don't we get back on at least some sort of a relevant gaming topic for like I don't know maybe 2 minutes before we completely fuck the rest of the show.
Perfect.
So let's talk about the
Madden,
most
Who
fucked
do you
up.
think is going to be on the cover of Madden 2021?
It is gaming related.
Views Vishal, ban Views Vishal.
Oh, he's got a list.
Okay, so go ahead. What was your actual question?
I was gonna say, what about this unbelievable clusterfuck of a dumbass idea of the Game Gear Micro?
Oh my god.
Why is it so small? Like, I'm not against it.
Like,
I think classic
No,
systems are cool. But why
and
make it micro?
frankly, that would be a great classic console because it's portable. It would have a lot of games on there.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of potential, but it's smaller than my fucking hand, and I don't have that big of a hand. I can barely palm a basketball.
What's the point? Like, the screen's gonna be stupid. Like, you're not gonna be able to see anything. The buttons are gonna be stupid. You're not gonna be able to press just one of them.
Okay,
I don't
I'm
get
out
it.
of the loop. What are we talking about?
So
Do you remember the
Sega,
Sega Game Gear? Adam, go ahead.
so Sega has had this weird rumor going around that they had this really big announcement coming up. So everybody's like, "Whoa!" There were even rumors going as far as saying in Japan the Microsoft Series X, their new console, was going to be branded as the Sega Series X, so it would sell better in Japan. So everybody was like, "Man, what's Sega going to come up with? Are they going to get back into the console market? What's going on?" And then they go, "You remember the Game Gear from back in the '90s? Here's the Game Gear, but as fucking small as half your palm."
Oh.
No,
well,
it's like painfully small.
Like,
the width of
I don't know how you play any game that has text in it. You could not
You
play
can't.
Phantasy Star on that thing because you would not be able to read anything.
Is
No.
Phantasy Star on the Game Gear?
I mean, even if it isn't, they can emulate it at this point. And yeah, I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
JRPG of some aspect. There's got to be some game on that fucking thing that has text and
Yeah, there's
relies on
definitely
it.
tricks with text.
Brittany, think of it. The screen is as wide as your iPhone.
oh yeah, that's terrible.
Like, I think
Yeah.
I don't know who is
Dude,
playing. I don't even,
taller.
like this is something that only babies could play. That's how small this fucking thing is.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it's even smaller than the screen.
is
for the
it?
wire.
A virtual console for ants.
it's basically like it's a handheld console for cats. I think that's the best thing I can come up with. It is a cat console.
It's really just it's a great idea, and I think it would be an awesome classic console. I think they should bring out a Game Boy Classic, a Game Gear Classic, but it's not that fucking size.
Yeah, no, it's the wrong size. It's just why. If anything, it should even be a bit bigger, maybe, than the original Game Gear.
It just
It, like either
it
the
doesn't
same
make any
size
sense.
or bigger, never smaller.
No, make it the same size as the DS screen. That would be fine. But make it like I don't know. It's such a stupid size and such a stupid concept that it's like, dude, like no, my hands cramp on a DS.
Yeah.
So on a thing like that, like it's not comfortable.
No.
It,
No.
it,
And
it
if you can put it in your palm and close your hand and it's gone, that's too small.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
like gaming is already
Maybe
bad
there's
enough
duct tape.
when you try to play, like, when you used to try to play like iPhone or Android games and it's like Mega Man but on this thing, but it has an arcade controller on the fucking touchscreen phone.
Actually,
Yeah.
you're 100% on the ball.
This
on
is
'cause that's
basically what that
exactly
fucking
it's
micro
like.
is. It's playing a game when it's already too small as it is, with controls that are also so fucking tiny. Like, honestly, I think I would love to see like the half of a Switch controller compared to the size of the micro, because they may actually be almost
Yeah.
the same fucking size.
No, the Switch
Yeah.
control will be bigger.
No.
think the
Just
Switch
just the one piece, like not
No,
the
I
whole
think
thing.
the one piece is
No,
longer.
it would be bigger.
From the pictures I've seen, the Switch like Joy-Con, even just the left-hand side is
Thank you.
honestly
I've totally forgot what the hell it
longer.
was called. Joy-Con.
Yeah, it's longer than the micro.
It makes
I don't know
no
about wider,
fucking
but
sense.
longer.
I don't know
Like,
what. I know exactly why Sega's not in the console market anymore.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
Genesis Mini was or the Genesis is was that what it was called? The Mini?
What the
Genesis Mini
what
or
the
Genesis
what
Classic?
the well, yeah, the classic.
I think classic. That was a great system from what I heard.
I mean, it was okay. It's just, again, it's people have kind of forgotten about Sega, so no one really cares that much.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, they care. Like, they make Yakuza, they make Sonic, and mind you.
Okay,
well,
well, okay, rephrase that.
Sega makes Sonic?
Sega does not make Yakuza. Like, they just source it. They're like the publisher.
Yeah, I feel like they mostly source all of their IPs now. They're just
I'm
kinda
gonna
like
butcher it.
public-
It's Ryoga Gotoku is the actual like studio that does it in Japan.
I think they're good as a publisher.
I mean,
think
they're
doing
fine.
well with what they
And I
have.
mean, they've proven that they can make a good game when they want to. It's just, it seems like it's very rarely,
Yeah.
as we've seen with Sonic in the last like 10 years.
Yeah. Sonic Mania, which was not made by Sega.
Basically, Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, those are pretty good. And then they came out with Sonic Boom, and you're like, oh.
Anything after Sonic Adventure and before Sonic Mania. Wait, no, Sonic Generations. That
Yeah.
whole gap in between, besides Smash Brothers, was fucking garbage.
Not
Yeah,
true.
there's like
there is Sonic Colors, so that's different. But
That was before Generation, I think.
yes,
Sorry, Brett, what'd you
Colors
say?
came before Generation.
The other day, I played Sonic Racing on the Switch. Oh,
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So the Sonic Racing count because that game's awesome.
awesome. It's
The last
very-
one isn't great.
I still gotta play.
Wait, which one did you play?
I gotta play
Sonic
the new one.
Race or Sonic Racing Unleashed?
Well, Sonic Racing Unleashed is not a thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
No, there was a sequel to it.
No, that's Sonic. There's Sonic and Sega and Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed was a sequel, but they just came out with one
Okay.
called Sonic Racing.
It's Team
or
Sonic Racing.
Team Sonic Racing. There it is.
Okay,
And it's not great.
because the sequel to Sonic Racing was rage-inducingly difficult.
Yeah. It got
Oh,
hard.
are you thinking
The
Sonic
one with
Riders?
Wreck-It Ralph in it. No. It was a sequel to Sonic Racing. There
Yeah, it was the
Wreck-It Ralph in it.
Transformed. Yeah,
Transform
he's
was
talking
fine. What are you
about
guys talking
Transformed.
about? That game was fine.
It's totally fine. It's just harder than the first one because
Well,
the
then-
first one was more arcadey.
Then get good.
Or like
Get
Kart
good.
Racer, and the second one was more arcadey. Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah, and Britt, it's going to be harder because the Switch doesn't. If you're not using the Pro controller, the you think even the Pro controller has this. You know how the PS4 and the Xbox controller, it's like analog for the trigger sticks or L2 and R2. Switch, it's just buttons. So you're either going max speed or no speed at all. There's no like holding down the gas and like going around a corner gently. It's either you're going full speed around the corner or your hand is just off the gas around the corner. You only have
Yeah,
the two
I
options.
was like, okay, yeah, I'll play it. I love Mario Kart, like a new game to play that's racing. Oh my god, I played like 2 rounds. I was like, fuck this, delete.
Delete. Yeah, it could be the controls.
I think it's on the Switch, but Crash Team Racing is really good.
I
Yeah.
heard that's
Yo-
hard as fuck too.
It is actually a hard game.
Yeah, that one is diff.
I think I didn't think that one was that hard, but I know that I remember that game. That one was a really good game though.
I love them for them to bring back Diddy Kong Racing. I'd love to see that come back.
I love Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, because no, it was cool because you got to be a plane, a cart, and a hovercraft.
Oh,
I heard that.
There are some water
Pouring
sounds.
in
All right.
bottles.
Yeah. There's the moneymaker right there.
That was the ASMR bathwater.
Sorry. I moved and I was like,
Oh shit! You got a great name, the Brittany Bitch Bathwater.
I'm gonna make my own podcast. It's like Brittany Bitch Bath Time. I'm just gonna tell stories.
Oh
No,
shit.
you understand you just missed out on the most obvious thing. You just call it the
What?
Brittany Bitch Water. It's a BBW.
No, it's a BBBW.
No. It's not good enough. Too many bees. Too many bees.
The
Because
extra
she's-
B is
Because Brittany is a bee.
I know.
Yeah, and this shows a lot of things as well. So, it's been a weirdly I guess it's not a weirdly dead week because we kind of know why it's been a dead week.
Yeah.
The only real thing that's really been of note that got done before all the obviously cancellations that have been going on was the Outriders stream, which I was already curious about that game to begin with, and then after watching that stream, I just went, oh, yeah, I'm gonna want this game, and this is gonna be really hard for me to not get it at launch. Because that game looks fucking sick.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Like,
It does look really, really good.
for it to basically be like a third-person Destiny, I am so down.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's a third-person Destiny.
Yeah.
I was actually I'm just gonna be back in a second as well. So
All right.
I guess we'll take a 3
No,
minute or
I ain't
5
taking
minute.
shift. Nope, no, fuck you guys. I ain't taking a break.
All right, we'll be back. We'll be back after these messages.
A word from our sponsors.
So what they don't know is that I'm keeping the stream up because I need to prove a point here. I don't know if I'll put this in the audio version, but I'm definitely leaving this in the video version because I can't wait for when we start streaming. I can't wait for when we start streaming this thing. I cannot fucking wait to watch these guys struggle to have to just sit down for 2 hours and stay the fuck still. Oh boy. This is gonna be something. Well, after everybody had their bathroom breaks, or in Chris's case, apparently, the I'm almost dying break. Welcome
that's-
back to the VCR Podcast. Where
Did everyone need to know?
somehow we're all alive.
Yeah, we survived.
Thank God. I don't know how close I am to potentially killing somebody on the show, but that's a different story.
I wonder if we could
Let's go
take a
distance
vote of
take.
who it would be.
Well, yeah, clearly it would be Brittany.
What?
What? God damn it, Brittany.
So before I was so rudely interrupted by people apparently need to go to the bathroom and then Chris needing to almost fucking die.
Yep.
We were gonna talk about the Outrider stream, which I must have been able to figure that something was up with Chris because I know Chris was excited for it and he was kind of quiet during it. I'm like, okay, this is somebody's time to talk. Why ain't you talking?
Yeah. But now that we are talking about it, fuck, that game looks good.
Yeah,
I know
so
Yeah, go ahead. You talk first. You
well,
talk first.
well, like I was gonna say before, everybody's like, "Hey, can we not talk about this for a sec so we can go do anything but?" I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, it to me. It just the more that I watch the trailers for it and the more content they release for it, I keep thinking, "Shit, this is like third-person Destiny," and I'm so down to fucking play this.
Yeah, it gave me Destiny vibes, which I haven't actually played Destiny. So when I say it gave me Destiny vibes, it's more just it's not. I know it's not a game as a service, but it has the same kind of.
They have
look and feel.
straight up said that it's not a game as a service, which I am so happy to hear these days.
Yeah.
What is it a shooter type game or is
It's
it
a third-person
story?
shooter with like MMO like aspects to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like Destiny mixed with a bit of Borderlands, mixed with what else? Like the Division.
It
maybe?
almost comes off like Left 4 Dead at sometimes too, because of just the sheer amount of shit that's on the screen.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I feel like we would enjoy this game.
Yeah, we definitely
We
would.
would.
This seems like a game that we would
All right.
definitely enjoy a lot with. I would hope
Yeah.
it's crossplay because I know my laptop would not handle this.
Yeah, I hope so too. Though here's the thing. It's releasing on PS5, PS4, new Xbox, current Xbox, Steam. This may be the first game I'm torn whether I buy it for my PS5 or my PC.
I mean, that all
This may
depends.
be the game.
It all
Could it
depends, man.
become free to play?
No,
eventually?
it'll
But
probably be you'll probably be paying for the game and then that's it.
Yeah, because there's no microtransactions, there's no games as a service stuff. It's basically you buy the game, but you get the entirety of it, regardless of like it'll be
They've
long.
said a lot of things that are like the smart thing to say when it comes to an MMO. It's not a game as a service. What you like, we're releasing you a full game, not a game that's going to become a full game. No microtransactions, which you always put the added bit of for now because you never know. Because again, I don't have a problem with microtransactions. I don't. I just have a problem with it when it takes away from the game.
Yeah, or if
If
it's
it-
pay to win.
If
oh
it's
my God.
cosmetic, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, buy the
that's
extra
perfectly
shirt
fine.
or the jacket that's $5. I'm not gonna buy it, but for everyone who does, that just gives more money to developers and they can do other stuff. I'm down
Yeah.
with those.
Apparently, my YouTube stream does not want to play at the same time, so I'm going back to normal screen here. So that sucks, but whatever. Yeah, it's definitely a game that the more that I've watched of it, I'm like, you know what? This is a game that again, it's the same thing of like what a Borderlands is, or what a GTA Online can be, or what Destiny is, or what a Phantasy Star Online 2. All these kind of games. It's a good game that you can definitely spend either all your time in it and do a lot, or you can just pop in for an hour and just do a couple of missions and just be happy with it.
Yeah. I'm super excited for it. The different classes they were showing during the stream. They showed the
Yeah, they showed the
he's
tricks. There was the trickster class they showed off.
the assassin kind of like guy.
You like
He
can,
was
you can fuck with time and like stuff like that, which just seems so cool. It makes me wonder though, when you do powers like that, you have to figure out a way. Because if this isn't PvP at all, like that would be really strange. Because most of these games always have some element of PvP.
Yeah.
So
I think it's that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I can't imagine that kind of power working with competitive combat because like how would you time mechanics it like that because that's when you get to things like Tracer and Overwatch where it's like it can get kind of weird
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
because
The thing
it's
I
almost like real time lagging.
yes, and I don't know. Like they haven't said anything about PvP yet.
Yeah,
And it looks like it's only co-op so far that they've shown.
I would honestly be happy with that because I think too many games
Me too.
try to put in multiplayer just for the sake of having multiplayer.
I don't need the PvP. I prefer the co-op experience where
It's,
there's 3 of you that work together. This is weird, this one. It's 3-player co-op, not 4, which is quite
It's very rare to have a game that doesn't have even somewhat of a multiplayer option nowadays, though.
well, it's multiplayer, but like where you're working together.
Like we're not
Left 4
talking competitive like Call of Duty competitive. Like it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
you're all
Oh.
working together.
Yeah.
So a cooperative.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-op. Yeah. So I think like all the time slowing stuff, like they had the perfect example. One of your teammates is down and has like 10 enemies running at him. You pop that slowing time bubble because you and your teammates are not slowed, but all the enemies are slowed. So you can run over and revive your teammate before they even reach
Yeah.
him because you put a slow bubble around it. Like, or you can use it offensively, like you have all these enemies, slow them, and then you can shoot them and take them all out while they're barely able to move. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that they were showing.
It's definitely a game that when I look at it, I'm thinking, okay, like they've done everything that's right that they can show off right away. Like they've definitely shown that the game itself looks really fun because it looks pretty crazy, a lot of action going on, all sorts of enemies off the screen. It looks really visceral, like things explode. It looks fucking awesome. And it's
Tons
also
of
it's
enemies.
also it's Square and People Can Fly, and anybody who knows People Can Fly knows that they make damn fun shooters.
Yep.
So
Yep, they do.
You know that what you're getting, at least in terms of the gameplay, should on paper be really good. The only question that when we play a game like this is it worth playing when it comes to grinding out levels and getting good gear? Like, is it fair enough that you feel like you're progressing without making it feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over again? Because that was the problem with Destiny in the early stages. Thankfully, Outriders has the opportunity now to learn after so many games have come and gone. They can learn from Destiny, they can learn from Anthem, they can learn from all these other games like this. and at least take all of these things, take the things that work, take the things that didn't, and make sure you don't do that. Because Destiny, when it first started, it was so hard to get good gear that it got to the point that people found a place on the map, and it was infamously called the Loot Cave, where enemies just consistently spawned if you stay at a certain distance away, and people would stand there. And I used to do this for hours on end, put on a podcast for like 2-3 hours, and just sit there in the same place and just shoot the same things coming out of the cave for like hours, just because you would get so much loot, there had to be a chance you get something rare.
I honestly, like, from original days Destiny, I've heard nothing good about it.
It
Like,
was
it
a
wasn't for,
rough
like,
launch. By the
6 months.
time that it
6
got to
months
the
in.
end of its first thing, it was fucking incredible, and I don't regret any amount of time I've spent in it in the long run. It just got to a point where, like I said, you play something for so long, you burn yourself out.
Yeah.
Like, I
Seems
know.
like Outriders. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know a lot of people that that lasted longer than I did, but a lot of my friends that used to play it, you just can't go back to it. Like, some of them can pop in, but like they'll still tell me, it's like, I'll pop in, do a raid here and there, maybe do a couple of the new missions. When a new story comes out, I'll do that, but like, I'm not into this as much as I used to, because you do it for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Like, at some point you go, okay, I'd like to play something else.
Yeah. I think this game might be a bit better with that because it has that world tier system where like you start off basically on easy difficulty, which is world tier 1, and as you kill enemies, you earn 2 bits of experience, one for your character level and one for your world tier level, which is like, I guess, the difficulty level. If you want, like, after you move to it's like, okay, you're good enough to get into world tier 2, you're good enough to get in world tier 3, and it keeps going. If you don't want to have it go anymore, you can still earn the experience, but you can be like, I want to stay in world tier 1. And
Yeah.
you can drop down and just stay there.
You'll still get decent stuff, but like, if you want like the
I,
highest grade shit, you gotta play the hardest difficulty. So
Yeah,
there is that
yeah,
emphasis of, if you're really deep into it, you play the hard shit. But if you're just there, just like, and that's how they explain it. They said, look, if you just want to have a fun time, play on the easy difficulty and just have a blast just shooting shit.
Yeah, because then it's just fun. It's like the story mode or easy mode of
Yeah,
the game.
yeah.
You're not going to get great loot, but it's not going to get any more difficult. So you're just enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
But if you want that good loot, you can get yourself up to world tier 10, or I think 15 was the max.
Yeah, 15 was the max.
Yeah, and then you just got like super hard enemies, and and then you get that loot. But I think this is also great for multiplayer because it's like, say, Vishal, you got the game and you're brand new to it. You're going to be in world tier 1, and me and Adam are in world tier 4 or something like that. We can join you and drop down to world tier 1, and we're all on equal playing ground. It doesn't matter. Nobody's.
Yeah, so it's
Like,
it's
it's
somebody
a
who's
great way
been
to do
playing
it.
for a year can go to a new player and help them. There's no.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's overpowered either, because as far as I know, I think they would scale you back to help. In the same with like what
It's not like
Borderlands does.
those,
Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's the
not
same.
like the Call of Duty elitist who will be like, I'm at level 50 or level 10. You're beneath me.
well, that's because you're playing Call of Duty. Why would you play Call of Duty?
Yeah, that's
If
just,
you're playing Call of Duty and
I think another reason is like going from first person to third person, you get a lot more visual aesthetic upgrades which are visible.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like Destiny still had a lot of armor upgrades, but again, like you're only seeing like your other characters. Like it's very rare that you will see your own character unless you're doing emotes. When you are third person all the time, you kind of have to put some emphasis on making sure your gear looks good. And I think that's always the biggest challenge with these games, because The Division is a great example of what happens when you can't.
Yes, I heard you, like, your character, no matter how much you level up, looks the exact same.
And that's the
entire
problem.
game.
It's because that game
Shouldn't.
itself is a great game. It just doesn't work as an MMO because the customization doesn't really do anything in a real life world. So in Outriders, it should be very easy to work with because it's fantasy. You can just go batshit crazy with costumes. You're good. And that's always the challenge. Destiny had that challenge early on. Some of the gear just didn't look that interesting. Anthem really had that problem where like almost all the gear looked way too similar. So the challenge for these games obviously is the gameplay and being able to keep you invested. But at the same time, the gear has to be worth grinding for, because if the big rare gear is just the same gun that you've had for a long time in the game, but it's blue, that's not so cool. But if it's like crazy spiky shit and it's on fire and it's got like a cat on the top of it, or there's just something hanging like if there's something neat there, like you can work with it.
Would like give you a sense of accomplishment, like, hey, I got a new armor.
Well, that was the
Like,
thing too. Like,
that small change would be awesome.
and there's also like there's the unknown of it too, because there's two ways of doing it. You either have like the, okay, you finish this mission, you earn this, and you feel like a sense of accomplishment for getting that thing. But there's also just doing a default raid and being the one lucky person that got this really good weapon that no one else does at that time. And everybody, I remember there was an infamous weapon in Destiny called the Gallarhorn, which is this crazy rocket launcher that would track things. So it was a tracking rocket launcher that would fire 3 rockets at a time. It was just destructive. And it was basically like the best exotic weapon in the game. And nobody in my friends list had it, and they were all like just begging for it. First time I go in a raid with them, first raid I'd ever completed, got it. And you just hear like everybody go, "You son of a bitch!" you get those kind of moments that are so much fun, like within friends, to be like, "Fuck you! I wanted that!" And you just get all the rage, and it's just it's that camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
So again, like as an ex-Destiny player, just seeing what I see in Outriders just makes me go, you know what? I'm fucking down for trying this, because I would love to see if it's just Destiny that I was dead on, or if it's just the kind of game itself. This looks like a pretty good difference, that it has a pretty good shot of being a little bit more fresh than anything else would be.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping it is crossplay, because then that way when it comes out, the 3 of us can decide. And Brittany, if you want to too, I don't know, it's not coming to Switch, so I doubt you'll actually be able to get it.
Yeah.
But
But like if you decide to get it on
PS4.
PS5, I can still play it on PS4. Vish can still play it on PS4, and if it's crossplay, I mean, I imagine it will be with PlayStations to begin with.
yeah, I feel like PS4 to PS5 will be crossplay regardless, same as Xbox Series X to Xbox
But
One.
yeah, I would hope that it's crossplay, and I think in this new generation, it should almost be a given at this point. So I don't think that should be a problem.
It's the same servers for PS5 and PS4. There's be no reason it would be separate servers.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't make any sense.
But yeah, if it's crossplay, I'd have the option to get it on PC. But I mean, I'm getting the PS5 anyway, so.
Speaking of PS5, the one interesting thing, I guess, that's news-wise, it wasn't anything game-related, was just that, that we found out now that anything that Sony has told all developers, if you release anything after July, or from July onward, it has to be available to be used on PS5, which tells you automatically that basically every PS4 game will be compatible with the PS5.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when they say to every developer, that means like that's not just Sony exclusives or anything.
It's the smallest indie developer. If you put your game on our store, it has to be able to work with our PS5 framework. And it might not be that difficult. It might just be, hey, just make sure it's able to scale up on this. Like, just make sure it's available.
I imagine it's because PlayStation and Xbox, I think, did this too. They were very smart with the last generation, that they went with the same type of system architecture that a PC has. Like it's a lot more similar. It's like the x84 or 86 or whatever the hell it's called. Either way, they went the same way, so that if you develop something on a PlayStation or a PC or an Xbox, they translate very well to each other. And I think all that Xbox and PlayStation are gonna do with architecture is basically just take what they've got but push harder, better graphics, SSD, all this stuff that we've heard about. But it's going to be the same build idea, so that if you build for the PS4, technically you should have built almost already for the PS5. Yeah. I think that's honestly
coming out so like in such a small window that you have to. Yeah. It was like when the PS4 first came out. Again, I regretted buying it because most of the games that were released for the PS4 until Mortal Kombat, I believe, were still being released for the PS3.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, if you're buying a console at launch, like you're either like committing to it because you haven't had a console in a generation, so you're just getting back in. Like Chris would make sense to get it at launch because he doesn't have a predisposition to the last generation, so it means nothing to him. For you and me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, although in this specific case, it might be in my better interest even to get it sooner than later, just because now that I have a 4K TV, I have a device that would be much more compatible with it. Not to mention, if we're assuming, especially now, because the PS3 games did not play on PS4 because of the architecture change, games now, like you would be able to assume that pretty much anything that you have on PS4 will already work with PS5, so you're basically just upgrading.
Yeah.
There's also an incentive for me too, because assuming that I have my girlfriend living with me soon. Obviously, she's at home and worrying about Corona, so she's kind of not really. She's doing the smart thing and distancing. But like, I would expect like we're gonna have 2 TVs now. And it would make sense if she wants to do something. Might as well keep the PS4 and have that available to her. And it's easy transfer for stuff too, because there's already a bunch of stuff that she can play there. So there's no point in me selling up. I was initially gonna just either give away my PS4 or sell it off. Now I'm like, you know what? It makes no sense. It might as well hang on.
No. Even if it's just like if Lisa wants to use it as a media center, you know
exactly.
what I mean? She just wants to watch Netflix or Twitch or Amazon.
Like if she wants to Netflix and chill with you, the options there.
Well, not when I'm gaming.
No, he's on the other TV. She's doing that alone.
If we're playing Outriders together, Netflix and chill is not going to be a very good idea, especially when I'm recording, because my voice might suddenly have changes in pitch after a while.
Adam, why's your voice cracking?
It's like, guys, no, we got to attack the thing. But yeah, I think again, like it's a very short story, but it's just the idea that we are getting at least a pretty good confirmation that if you're a PS4 user, you're not gonna have to worry too much about your stuff not transferring. The only thing that's really left, and I assume in the reveal event we'll hear about it, is just what your digital stuff does. That's the one question mark. I would assume it has to, because it's tied to your account. It has to be.
The Jackbox Game Store in general, like that's a huge fucking thing.
Yeah, I honestly think it will this time, because I think they're aware of how, from PS3 to PS4, how detrimental that was with it not being backwards compatible, both digital and physically.
Yeah.
And with Xbox, and like Xbox is coming out hard this time because Xbox.
They got some ground to cover. Nintendo's actually beating them too now, I think.
Yeah, they are.
Which is crazy when you think of it, because Nintendo did it in half the time.
Yes. Which is, like they're halfway to the PS4 sales, and they're halfway through their life cycle, or their life span, basically the Switch's lifespan. So who knows? It's crazy. But yeah, Xbox is like coming out hard and offering a bunch of stuff and everything like that. And one of them they're doing is backwards compatibility is going to go all the way back to the original Xbox. So
wow.
Sony's like, all right, we know that we have to do something here, and I think digital would be the biggest thing.
I mean, it's like we said on our wish list. Like,
what's going to be the backwards compatible for? Because when Xbox came out, that's when PS2 came out.
Yeah, so it's what I was saying on our wish list too. Like, I don't think that you're going to be able to put a PS2 disc in a PS5 and it's going to work. The hope,
PS2 and PS3, it's too hard.
The hope, in my opinion, is that they at least find a way to emulate it or stream it.
Xbox 360 working and Xbox One working on the Xbox One X.
You do understand that that's the architecture. It has nothing to do with the console. Yeah. It has to do with how it was built. Yeah. When PS3 moved to PS4, they completely changed what it ran off of. And I'm not talking like graphics card. I'm talking straight up like it would be like if they moved from a Windows to a Mac. Like that change was insanely different. Yeah. And the reason they did it is because it was a lot easier hardware to use. Because a lot of developers were saying how hard it was to work on PS3's hardware.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like a lot of developers came out saying that with the PS3, it was such a unique architecture that even just making a game multi-platform for Xbox 360 and PS3 was really, really fucking hard to do.
I imagine that's why, like, Mass Effect, for example, never was on PS3 until the third game.
Yeah. It was just really, if you made a game for PS3, it was fine, but like you only made it for that because it was this different architecture.
I mean, it was smart if you wanted exclusives, but I mean, it doesn't really work that well for people who are paying a shit ton of money for it, and they can't take any of it with them now.
Yeah, and again, that was one reason the PS4 and Xbox One was such a big deal, because both those two systems, even though they're different companies and everything, had similar architecture. And they were close enough to even just PC that if you make your game on PC, which I'm assuming is where games start, and then you start moving them onto the console and doing your thing from there. But like when it was easier to start making your game on a PC and then move it to Xbox and PS4 because they were similar architectures across the board, which was, I don't think ever before this generation we're in now had that ever been done before. Like GameCube and Xbox and PS2 were all completely different, and PC different, and everything. Like it's just moving in now, especially with the next generation. Everything's going to be the same. Like the graphics cards that are coming out with the new Xbox and PlayStation are going to be available to install in PCs just slightly before the console's release.
Yeah.
Like it's like everybody technically could have the same architecture even though they're different systems.
Mm-hmm. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So lastly, obviously, we were going to be here doing the PS5 reveal. That was the planned date. It got postponed. We still don't have a date yet. I said it on Twitter. We've talked about it like a lot in our Discord. Which, by the way, if you're on YouTube watching this, the link to the Discord is in the description. So if you guys want to shoot the shit with us too, you can do that. I said, like, honestly, I was really mad at first. It was also a really bad day that day. It was not the best time for that kind of news to come in, so I was also not too happy about it. But in really retrospect, I'm not mad about the decision for them to cancel it and postpone it. Like, I think we all can agree that there was definitely more important stuff to talk about than to have a video game reveal.
Yeah, with everything going in the world right now, and especially in the States, 100%.
The only thing that I still take umbrage with is that they still haven't announced a date. And that's the thing that bugs me, because IGN moved all their stuff, gave a date. Cyberpunk moved their thing, gave a date immediately. I'm thinking, guys, like, it's a fucking video. Like, just
yeah.
You don't even have to. It doesn't have to be a concrete date. Just say, like, it's going to be today. So let's say it's a week from now. Let's say it's the 11th, and just say, hey, this might be subject to change. We're keeping an eye on it.
100%. And just even as a business standpoint, PR move, moving it completely makes sense.
But give your fans another light, because you took the light away from the tunnel. Give it back.
Yeah. Give another date, and like you said, just put subject to change, because they could say, okay, one more week, and a week from now.
Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea.
Hopefully it doesn't, but like imagine.
Not to mention, anything else can happen, because this is 2020 and apparently everything's happening. So.
Yeah, I'm assuming July is when the aliens show up.
Yeah,
Or the zombies.
You have no idea. Yeah, Brittany left the call. I guess there's another bath to come into play.
Yeah, she's going back in.
But I figured there was no better thing to end on than obviously with what's been going on. Now, we're not here to specifically talk about what's going on in terms of the riots, in terms of what happened to George Floyd and what's happened to other protesters and other things. If you want to go see that stuff, there is literally every other place on the face of the internet right now that you can do that. But what I wanted to do is tie this to gaming. And obviously, when we've talked on this podcast several times about whether it's when it comes to things like censorship and stuff like that. I really want to hammer something down that I don't understand, and that still is a thing in games. And this comes to, obviously, us as a community. And my question that I pose, and this is not to you guys necessarily, it's just to anybody listening and really anybody in the gaming community that would ever hear this. I don't understand. So why is there a problem with women? Why is there a problem with people of color? Why is there a problem with gay, transsexual, bisexual, pansexual, whatever? What's the problem with them being in our group? Like, we're not talking people that are assholes. We're not talking about people that want to censor the things that you love. I'm just talking, what's the problem with playing Call of Duty and a girl coming into the voice chat? Because every time, and I don't do this anymore because I have so many friends that I can just jump into a party and not have to worry about that shit. But in a public forum, why is it so hard for people to accept that people that aren't them is going to jump into this game?
So, I like for example, like I follow a few cosplayers on Instagram because I've met them. They're really cool people and they're gorgeous. And they've been doing a lot of postings lately about minority cosplayers, like people who are black cosplaying as traditionally white characters.
Man, it's one of my most popular videos on my channel, and I didn't expect anything to bump up like that. But yeah, it's just, what's the issue? A
lot of people are bitching that it's like, why are you dressing up as Wonder Woman? Why are you dressing as Superman? Why are you dressing up as Batman? Like my one buddy, he's who is Portuguese, who's very painfully culturally ignorant. And I have mentioned it to him, like straight up mentioned it to him. Like in Fan Expo last year, I came as Punisher. And he was just joking, but it was only I know him. I know it's a half joke. He said, "Hey, why did you dress up as Aladdin? Punisher's not brown."
Well, but even then, the joke is not funny to begin with.
Yeah.
No.
And it's like,
I wouldn't be happy with it.
It was actually I saw a really nice picture on social media one time where this uncle took his nephew who dressed up as Elsa to the for Halloween, and he said something very nice. He was like, "Halloween and playing and cosplaying is about being your favorite character. His favorite character is Elsa. What's the big fucking deal?"
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like I like. Don't get me wrong. In the movies and the portrayal of the characters, the iconic ones, I don't think you should change them. There's no reason to make Superman black. There's no reason to make Batman black. They have been like that for generations, and there's no reason to change that.
But then when you talk about like, what's the problem with a new character being introduced who's black or gay or whatever? Because every time that happens too, people lose their shit, and it's like, guys, it's new. Like, what the fuck?
I will tell you exactly why.
Because they're racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic.
No. Yes, yes, and
Adam's
no.
correct.
Yes and no. There's a simple phrase. When you're used to privilege and entitlement, equality looks like oppression. So when they are seeing characters who are not the traditional, for those who don't know, I'm a brown Indian man. For the ones who are not used to a traditional white, blonde hair, blue-eyed character, they feel like, why is this being forced upon us? Why are they doing this? Why is this there?
And the adorable part is like, it's not being forced on you. You can stop doing it whenever you want.
The fact is, the reason they're asking why this is happening is the reason it's happening.
Yeah, it's in the simplest thing. It's like I said, it's one thing to take a character that has been around forever and just suddenly be like, oh, by the way, it's that person's a different race or a different gender or a different like sexuality now. It's like, no, this stuff's canon, leave it alone. It's like there's the greatest example, or one of the greatest examples, is Miles Morales. Fucking Spider-Man.
It's a completely different Spider-Man.
And people love him too because you give him a chance, and also you get people that can fucking write, because sometimes they make new characters and they're shit. I mean, look at fucking look at the what's that stupid thing Marvel came up with recently? The new heroes, like the safe space and snowflake things.
God,
I forgot about
like there's stuff like that where it's like, okay, no, you're not helping. When it's bad writing, it's bad writing.
That was intentionally like insulting.
Like, you knew that it was bad writing because neither side liked it, because the SJWs hated and the anti-SJWs hated it, so.
Yeah,
but like bad. Going all the way back to even just about race, it's just like, what's the problem? Like, it actually works in the opposite way too. Like, Overwatch community members used to get mad if like they were saying every time a new character was, they'd all say, I hope it's not another white male. It's like, again, who gives a fuck? It's art. Which, by the way, people seem to forget. Gaming is art. Do we ever question a painting for having... are we going to question that the Mona Lisa is not a black woman? We don't. Yeah. But why can we question a game? And I can tell you why. It's because the majority of the mainstream or the general public, they feel like gaming is just this kids thing still. So it's easily moldable.
Yeah.
I know enough dumbass people who are like, oh, video games are for kids. I'm like, are you?
They are, but they're also for people that are teenagers or adults.
I'll actually disagree with you on this, because
how are you going to disagree with me on this?
Because I here's why. Because the OG gamers, we're not kids anymore. That's
Fish. I'm not saying it's just for kids. I'm saying it is for kids and also everybody else.
But but these people, the ones who are that ignorant, are assuming that gaming is just for kids.
Yes. And they're technically right and also wrong.
I would say they're mostly wrong, because there's more. I feel there is more high profile M-rated games coming out than E games.
Again, that doesn't change anything.
There's games for everybody.
That's the whole point here. That's the whole point of this conversation, is anybody should be able to play a game. Anybody should be able to be in a game. Yeah. So the whole conversation just goes back to, and there's a guy on YouTube that I watch, and if you guys are able to want to go and listen to political stuff, because that's what he is, His name is Vosh, Vaush, and this guy is very, very, very chill. Like, he's not extreme, he's not anything crazy. And he made a great comment because it was, I can't remember specifically what video it was that he said this, but he said to gamers, so, oh yeah, it was, do you guys know about the one girl that's part of a Twitch safety council that got criticized because she was also weird because she thinks she's a deer?
I don't know this girl.
Oh my god!
I'm sure Chris might have heard this. I know Vish probably hasn't because he doesn't go that deep into the gaming stuff.
I didn't go deep. She just showed up on my Twitter feed one day.
Yeah. So I think it was on a video about her, but he basically just said, because she at one point said that, there's a lot of white supremacists who play games, and that's true. There are a lot of people out there that are white supremacists who probably play games, and he said, and this is specifically just directed at you, like, exactly the kind of people that are like the, what, girl, is that a girl, go make me a sandwich, like those kind of people.
Yeah, and they're in Call of Duty.
Yeah, and he said the best thing. He's like, guys, don't you want big titty goth girls to also play the things that you really like, so you have something to talk about, aka get closer to her and maybe somehow into her pants?
Yes, please.
Like,
like find somebody you actually connect with.
If you open the door for people, you might find more friends and not be alone all the time. Maybe find a girl you like or a guy, who cares? Like, you be whatever you want to be whatever you want to be into. You might find some cool people, but if your initial reaction is, you're not exactly like me, so get the fuck out, go to hell. You're the reason why we don't have nice things. You're the reason that Fox News or every other conservative publication likes to treat us like we're a fucking, like, cancer, that we cause violence, that we are actually the bane of the existence, and we're the real reason the country's going to shit, not because of every goddamn other thing.
So this reminds me of a social experiment that I saw done in Germany. This was very interesting and very eye-opening. They removed this grocery store removed every single international product from their grocery store. The store was basically 90% empty.
Yeah. People really don't understand, like, how much it actually means to have everybody together. And it's one thing to say, like, okay, we're never going to all be together politically. We're never going to all be together in terms of liking each other, because it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter what you're into in terms of your sexuality. We all got our assholes. So there are always going to be people out there that you can't fucking stand. But it's the idea that apparently there's a large chunk of the gaming population that can't even be open to the potential of letting other people in because they're afraid that it's going to destroy what they like. And the reality is most of the people that you're afraid of don't give enough of a shit about games to actually do any damage.
Yep.
And the thing is I think even just the three of us, but most people who get into gaming, and I mean get into gaming where they're playing online a certain amount of time per week, or they consider it a hobby. If they was like, list out your hobbies and one of them is gaming, most of those people got into gaming because maybe they were a nerd and they didn't have anybody, or they were, an awkward 12-year-old and didn't know
somebody else introduced you to stuff.
Yeah, or they finally made a friend and this was something they bonded over. A lot of people turn to gaming, especially online, because it's like it's a way of connecting with people, whether it's joining a community or just playing games online. And I've met people online just through gaming and stuff, and I speak to them once every couple weeks and everything on Steam and whatnot. But like, even when I was a kid, this is the reason I got into gaming, is because of this. And imagine the fact that there are people trying to not let people in, or trying to be mean to people because they're different or whatever as they're coming in. Imagine that was you. Imagine being when you were first getting into gaming, you were 12. Imagine now trying to you're 12, and I'm assuming you'd be going on Fortnite, and that's how you're making some of your friends. It's by playing Fortnite. Now imagine how vulnerable it is to be that, and then you go, and as soon as you get there, you're rejected. People who've never met you are basing it based on your sexuality, your gender, the way you look, your race, the sound of your voice, your hair color, who even fucking cares, and you get rejected, it's already such a vulnerable set of people sometimes that are going into this community specifically, that to hold anybody back, and you should never do it anywhere, but even just, it shocks me that gamers who are already people who are so vulnerable to begin with could act like this towards other people trying to join. It's like, yo, fucker, do you not remember when you were vulnerable and playing Fortnite or playing Sega Genesis or whatever for the first time? And you finally made that one friend and how hard that was. And look how difficult you're making it for other people to do what you were able to get through. You are being the complete opposite of the person that let you in to this community.
And I mean, you take the idea of just more people getting in. Like, look what's happened. Like, how much has gaming grown since we were playing as kids? Look at where we are.
Dude, it went from a casual hobby to a multi-billion-dollar industry, to the point it's bigger than music and movies combined.
Like,
yeah.
This is fucking including the MCU.
Like,
Yeah, this is
gamers, this isn't that complicated. Do you understand that because so much more of us are playing games, that we have multiple consoles, all these different genres of games that we never would have had before, all these options with independent developers and AAA developers, all this other stuff, all this revolutionary stuff.
In a few years, video games are going to become a respected art form. It's like
they are a respected art form. We finally got that, and then people are denying it because they still want to control it to be what they want.
But
that's
the
not
fucking
art.
problem. The fact that people are denying it means it's still not respected the capacity it should be.
No, officially to the Supreme Court, it is listed as it is treated as an art form now under the Code of Law. That is what we fought for 30 plus years. We got that. It's one thing, like, that means that they can never take that away from us. And I don't even care what Fox News, I don't care what politicians say about it. They can go in their little
Fox
shitty
News
bubbles.
can go suck a dick.
They can go to their fucking little bubbles and just hide away there, and they can stay in their own little shit. I don't give a fuck. Okay, but it's when gamers themselves, please let me finish. When gamers go out there and fight the same shit that we are criticizing others for doing and making it seem like they're in the right now, it's like, you are the reason that all of a sudden, like, if it wasn't for you guys, here's a great thing. Anti-SJWs or gamers, like, you know exactly which ones you are. You are the reason Anita Sarkeesian exists. You are the reason Zoe Quinn exists. These guys might know who I'm talking about, but the people who know this shit, you're the reason that it happens. Because if you couldn't just be fucking nice to any girl that shows up on a game, whether it's Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Halo, whatever, we wouldn't have these people coming in to this industry who actually don't really care about it much and trying to make it safer for people. Because what they're really doing is molding it and trying to make a buck off of other people suffering because you guys can't shut the fuck up for 5 minutes. That's the reality. The reason that everything is going on out in the world is a whole other conversation, but the core of it is, in terms of the gaming community, is the same. It's because you guys can't fucking leave things alone and let other people enjoy shit too. You can't let people just enjoy stuff and be alive. That's your problem. There are a lot of things in this industry I hate, but I would never dare to make somebody's life miserable because of it. I hate Anita Sarkeesian with every ounce of fiber in my fucking being. I would never send her a death threat. I would never go to this woman's face and punch her or do any sort of verbal or physical assault to her, because that's a stupid thing to do. And the fact that people like you guys will do that shit is the reason that every mainstream outlet thinks we're garbage, that every person who is not in our community thinks we're garbage, because we look like garbage on the outside, because we can't look fucking presentable ever.
Yeah, you've nailed it, man. Like, I really just, it's just like, and like what I was saying, like with I was talking to one of my coworkers. I'm new at my job, and me and him were talking about video games. I was talking about EGLX, and I was telling him, like, yeah, we were there last year. The year before, it was actually pretty small, and last year they doubled it, and
it was like fucking night and day. Holy shit, it was amazing.
Yeah, and we just ended up talking because we both had to do long drives this week, and I was talking about, like, Nitro Brew coffee like when they had it at EGLX last year.
Yeah,
me
that
and
cold
Chris
brew
were
stuff that was there.
basically- Yeah, me and Chris were basically high off caffeine. For
Yeah, you were.
half the day,
Yeah,
and
I
then
nearly died. I was smelling colors. I could hear
I
them.
could hear the colors. I could smell the sounds. It was
I hear your
phenomenal.
true colors.
colors.
Maybe 2
And-
energy drinks and 3 micro.
And this is he's a super cool guy, and he's a father of 3, and he's younger than us. Like not that much younger. Like he's like maybe 1 or 2 years older than Chris, younger than Chris and I. But it's just like, listen, those fucking nerdy kids who loved video games, we're grown up, and guess what? We still fucking love games.
It's just the problem is that we also turn into spoiled man children.
Yeah.
I'll
Like,
give you
it's
that.
one thing for us to argue about what bullshit EA is doing this week. It's one thing to argue
Madden.
about a character who used to be like this overly sexualized, like sex appeal crazy character like Lara Croft, and they suddenly just destroyed it. Or in Mortal Kombat now, where the new outfits basically just hit everything, even though all the guys are still shirtless. Like, there's some things that you can criticize, but like when it comes down
in all
to
fairness, I like new Lara Croft better than
yeah, but
new
it's still the
Lara-
idea of
Lara
like you
Croft.
took something that was iconic for so long and just change it. Like they could have just been like, here's like Lara's daughter, like or something like that. It's still an
No,
option.
I think what they did is actually better.
Okay,
because
we're
it's
not
like-
we're not here to argue about like the actual like stuff about it.
Okay.
It's because again, this is a whole like better conversation we have to be having here. But like again, it's one thing to argue stuff like that because it's not changing anything that's like super imperative. Like there are things that are just like subjectively like people might like things certain better. But from a standpoint of just allowing people in, I don't understand why people think it's just okay to argue about why does this character have to be black? It's like because it's a fucking video game, who cares?
Yeah, and because other people exist in the world other than you.
Like right
So,
now, and I know again we're not talking about the leaks, but the fact that I see so many people, and it's not even 100% shown that the one girl in Last of Us 2 is even trans, but since everybody assumes it is, now there's all this transphobia going around. It's like, guys, why does that matter? You would hate the character if the person wasn't trans. Why does the fucking gender matter?
So the one thing I'll say is I changed my viewpoint on it. Was when they, from what I see in the trailers, that Ellie is now a lesbian, but then I realized in the first game she was only like 8-10 years old.
Well, but even then, why would it matter?
There's but I realized there's no real discovery at that age. So at this point, she's probably discovered.
Well, let's
she is and what she is.
even say that like there was a hint that maybe she liked boys in the first game, and people see that she's like kissing a girl. Oh, she's a lesbian. Maybe she's fucking bi. Like, what's the problem there? It's it's the company she keeps. Why does it matter?
It only matters when the story is not doing it to just tell a story, and they're instead trying to
Make a statement.
to pander or something to a specific group of people or whatever.
Well, even if it's pandering, considering how rare it is to have lesbian relationships in video games, even if it's pandering, it should exist because we need to make that normal.
And,
yeah. I just meant when they like ruin the story because they didn't make it normal. They
Oh
tried
yeah,
to-
if a game comes out and the story's
force it
garbage
in.
because all they want to do is focus on like political correctness stuff, that's different.
what I
It sounds to
yeah.
me like The Last of Us though, like it's still going to be a great game, although the story might be a little bit iffy on other points. But it seems like they put a hell of a lot of work into it, and just Ellie being essentially gay or maybe bi, but we don't know because again, who fucking knows? Like just because she kisses a girl doesn't mean she's not open to the other. She just really likes this girl.
Yeah, and honestly, it seemed to, from what I've seen, because obviously the game's not out, it made sense. It seemed to fit the story. It seemed to fit the narrative. It seemed to fit the character. It seemed to fit everything. Like it didn't feel like they were trying to.
It doesn't feel
force it in or-
forced. No.
Yeah, they didn't try and force it. They were like, this is, and that's the point. The point is, like you said, Adam, make it normal. It should just be that when you play a game, there's multiple races, there's multiple sexualities, there's multiple genders, and we need to make it normal because it has been more one way for a long time.
Yeah, the reality is that we should never be aversing our gaze just because a game comes out and the character's black, or the character's gay, or the character's a woman, or the character's Like what? Like you know what I'm talking about? Like it'd be one thing. Like look, if you're a white guy and all of a sudden, like let's say the next 30 major games are all non-white characters, yeah, I'd be a little put off too. But it's never going to be like that. Especially when we have so like I think what was that stat? I think in 2018, like because Feminist Frequency did their thing where they showed off all the games that were at E3 that year and how many of them were what the genders were. And I think it was like 60 something percent of all the games let you customize. So even now, it doesn't even matter. Most games are going to let you be whatever you want. I mean, look at what Cyberpunk's doing. I can't wait to watch people get so mad because you can be trans in Cyberpunk. I can't wait to see people get mad at that.
Yeah, and it's a choice. It's your choice, and that's another good point because it lets people express who they are, or maybe who they want to be, or maybe who they're curious to be.
Yeah, if you're a gamer and you don't like more choices, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's just
like I said, don't
for the point of it.
Don't change the icons. Don't change the.
Well, no, but I'm talking like if it's a blank slate, if give us as many options, there should never be a problem.
Yeah.
Like don't make Mario a female or gay out of nowhere. Like that doesn't make any sense.
No, like it's with anything else. If the characters got time on them, I even think like if they suddenly just said, "Oh, by the way, Joel is blonde now," I'd be like, "Why?"
Yeah,
why?
Yeah, even just like hair color and stuff.
That would make
it
like
maybe he's having a midlife crisis.
Oh yeah, if he
if Joel had a midlife crisis, he would be riding in on a Harley.
Yeah, or a Mustang.
Comes down in a Corvette.
Like a 90s Mustang.
Hey, Ollie. Like my...
You know what? We need Last of Us 2
like
Joel DLC where he's got a porn stash and rides a Corvette.
Hey, Ollie. Like my soul patch.
And the only thing that's ever blaring on his speakers is Bon Jovi.
Yep. It's his life. And it's now or never.
But especially...
He just wants to live forever.
Especially in these days, though, and so many games let you pick what you want. Like, it comes down to that thing, too, of like, okay, like, I get that. And then when there are games that they have a central figure, look at no further than Horizon, which I can't wait for both of you to actually play, even though Vish already owns it, and Chris is just waiting for it to go on PC.
I thought it was pretty great.
But I mean, like, once you get to the full... Aloy is one of the best female characters we've ever had, and it never would have happened if they'd not taken that chance. And it's crazy to say that taking a chance on a red-haired girl, that shouldn't be a chance, but it was a chance.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a tough guy who's going through and fighting. Like, it was a tough girl for once.
Not to mention, there's not even really any outfits in the game that's, like, sexualizing to her either. There's one outfit in the entire game that's got midriff, but again, no cleavage, no ass, nothing.
Yeah.
So in theory, that should have been the riskiest move of all. And it's still one of the best games on that console, and she is one of the best female characters we have in gaming right now, and I will fucking take that to the grave with me.
Aloy for Smash Brothers.
Well, what if PlayStation comes out at their conference and says, PlayStation Battle Royale coming back?
Oh man, All-Star, what was that called?
Yeah, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
All-Star Battle Royale.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually really liked it.
Fun, but it was definitely no Smash Brothers.
Well, no, it did not play as smoothly as Smash.
you got a hell of a hill to climb if you're catching Smash.
Yeah. But I mean, if they came with a new one, they could fucking make it work. They could fix the game.
Somebody coming out with a Smash-like game trying to beat Smash would be like a fucking Timbits hockey team trying to take out the top team that won the Stanley Cup that year in the NHL. Like, come on. You got a bit of a hill to climb.
Who knows what it's going to be this year?
Well, okay, the Timbits hockey team ain't playing either, so...
I love Timbits.
Who doesn't love Timbits? If you're Canadian and you don't like Timbits, you don't like nice things.
Yeah, this is true.
I just don't like Tim Hortons, though.
Yeah, but do you not like donuts?
Yeah, have you had a Timbit?
I like donuts. Don't get me wrong. I love donuts.
So you basically would like donut holes, which means you like Timbits. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole other conversation.
You've had them. They're delicious.
Not to mention, just go get donut holes at Krispy Kreme. Then it's even better.
Yeah.
I was at Krispy Kreme today, but the lineup was too long.
Well, as it should be. It's that fucking good.
Yes. But I'd rather have Beechwoods for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it seems like social distancing right now is probably the smarter thing to do than worry about donut intake.
I know.
Sure, say that.
I know.
But donuts.
What's harder for Vish to what's harder to control? Vish from getting Beechwood donuts or Chris from buying a PS4?
Here's the
I'll
thing:
take
the
that challenge.
the Beechwood Donuts is not a convenient drive for me, so I can avoid that very easily.
Neither is the
All
amount
right,
of money you have to spend on a PS4.
Yeah,
The
here's the challenge.
PS4 is literally Chris lives next to a mall, and there's at least 4 stores that he can buy it from.
Yeah, but that's also money that's cutting into his PS5 fund.
Yeah. All right, here's the challenge. All right, here's the deal. We take it to see who will break first. Vishal, if you break first and you buy your donuts, you have to buy me a PS4. If I break first and buy a PS4, I have to buy you Beechwood donuts.
How about doing
That
the
seems fair to
vice
me.
versa?
This seems fair. 2 against 1. It's on.
And
If
I'll
I
just
buy
sit
the
here and laugh.
donuts, you buy the PS4. If you buy the PS4, I buy the donuts.
No. You have to buy me a PS4.
I'm not buying you PS4, dude. I'm sorry.
Fine, I'll just take yours.
There you go.
I'm gonna need it for at least 2 more years.
Okay, fine.
By then, you'll have a PS4.
I was gonna say, yeah, by
fine.
then I'll have his PS5, so who cares?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a PS5 by then.
But yeah, like, we obviously know what's going on out in the world right now. We know that it's a very tumultuous time. I mean, it's already bad enough that COVID was a thing, and this just got even worse. I think this also becomes such a bigger deal is because everybody's available now to protest, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an issue regardless.
Possibly better.
Yeah, it does, and I think this might actually be a time where we see proper change.
Yeah. Because,
Now it may not be immediate, but I think we might have started laying down some real groundwork again.
No, it's like I mentioned. It's the biggest issue is the generational gap that is not being addressed.
And as Obama said in his speech yesterday, like the fact that so many young people are getting out there and making their voices heard because every major movement in our history has always started by youth.
Yes. Yep. Yes. It's the young people that will.
Because they'll be the ones becoming politicians in the long run. They'll be the ones making the big voting when they're the major population. So.
Yep.
So it's such a crazy time, and it like I said, it's so much exacerbated because it's already been a bad enough year as it is. So man, it's just on top of something. So. But
what's fucking next?
But when it really comes down to it in a gaming aspect, it really is a simple thing of saying, what's the problem with letting everybody play? I don't care how old you are, although to be fair, if you're 12, you shouldn't be playing an M-rated game. That's supposed to be the rules. Follow the rules.
Yeah.
It's the rules.
I don't want no squeakers in my Call of Duty lobbies that I don't actually play in, so who cares?
Yeah, also true.
I don't care how old you are. I don't care what gender you are, don't care what race you are, don't care what country you come from, don't care how your voice sounds, don't care what company you keep, don't care what religion you carry, don't care what things you like. If you like gaming and you want to play, go play. Because if you play, 2 more people will follow you. And if 2 more people follow them, and we keep getting more and more people, this becomes so widespread that no one can shut us down, and it means more options become available, more competition comes, which means shit gets even better. We get better consoles, better hardware, better games, better companies. When we have the ability to have more voices with more choices, it always gets better. It always gets better.
And when you play, treat every single other fucking gamer with respect. It's fine for the little bit of teasing and stuff going back and forth.
Yeah, shit talking's one thing.
Shit talking like fucking mini golf with you fuckers last night. Like that's okay. That's normal. But
Chris, I'm sorry, man. You're not allowed to shit talk after last night's game. About mini golf.
Not about mini golf. Never.
I mean, he shit a brick when he played, but that was about it.
Yeah, it was a big fucking brick. That game was.
But it's the thing. If you want to have a fun time shit talking, that's fine. But why would you ever treat somebody that you don't even fucking know so terribly?
Yeah. In fact, get to know them. Like, get to know more people in the community, like the gaming community. Like, make friends to play games with. Like Adam, you said, you didn't even have to join random lobbies and stuff for Destiny because you made friends along the way. I think that's what you said.
Well, there are also places you could go to. There are places out there, whether it's Reddit pages, whether it's all these external sites that just help you find people. We are in this age of the internet where it should be like, as a gamer in the late 80s, early 90s, when it really started to make that turn, it was really hard to find friends because it was still uncool. You would get beaten up for being a nerd. You would get beaten up for playing video games because it wasn't the thing to do.
Yeah. I know that.
We are in 2020, where millions, if not over 1 billion people are playing games of some aspect. I think over 1 billion people are playing video games in some aspect, depending on what devices we're talking. But when we have an industry that has as many people playing, and there are still this many people who think that more people shouldn't be allowed in, is just disgusting.
Yeah.
Except for Vish, we shouldn't allow him into anything.
Don't worry, dude. It's purely based on your personality.
Because look,
okay.
It's one thing if a person's an asshole. If a person's being a prick, then yeah, go be a prick to them back. They kind of deserve it. But if a woman just comes into a lobby and just talks, doesn't even do anything, and it suddenly becomes a endless barrage of girl, make me a sandwich. Why aren't you in the kitchen, bitch? Send me nudes. If we can just fucking stop. Because if this girl has a great time, more girls come in. And when more girls come in, us as gamers look a little more attractive. If we want to make this as like easily like sellable to these fucking assholes, if more women play this game, if more people of color play this game, if more gender neutral people play this game, people of different sexualities play this game, all of a sudden the industry becomes so much more presentable, and us as gamers, we're not looked at as something weird or somebody that people should watch for, because maybe that person might be a little bit weird. Or like, again, you want your big titty goth girl so bad, internet? Fucking let them play games. You're gonna get a lot closer to them that way, because you certainly aren't gonna do that by harassing them on Instagram all day long.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So
You're not gonna you can't slide into their DMs.
No, I mean you can, but you'll get banned or blocked, I should say.
Yeah, I guess blocked. Yeah.
It really all comes down, and to close it off, it really just comes down to one simple thing: gaming is supposed to be for everybody. Let's fucking make it that.
Yeah. 100%.
Anything else you guys want to add before we break it off?
No, I think that's actually a perfect way to end it.
Unfortunately, this situation's been like taking a little bit of an emotional toll on me that I prefer not to just get into it right now, just to like for my own sanity.
Yeah, it's not an easy time. I mean, obviously,
no.
I hate using this word, and you know that I'm serious when I'm actually saying this. I know that I have privilege. I fucking hate saying it, but I know I have it. Yep. So it's my responsibility to be able to say that we need to fucking use it properly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to walk into a lobby and not be harassed, unless I'm shit at the game, and that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But nobody's gonna touch because my voice is a certain way. No one's gonna touch me because of my gender. So the fact that we do it for other people just seems so asinine to me. Because if I can have an easy time, we should be making it so that everybody else feels the exact same way that I do, because that's how I got into this so deep that I have over the course of my life.
And the one thing that really just, I don't even know if I should mention it. It's just like when people are like, what about Oprah? What about Obama? Okay, you named two. And you know me, okay? I'm colorblind when it comes to friends, when it comes to people, when it comes to anything. But I will tell you one thing. Yeah, you can name Oprah and Obama. That's two. Name me any other ones. Name me 10. And
it's like people like, oh, you guys got Obama. I'm like, okay. Name me some white presidents. Every other
10.
One.
Yeah, every
you
other
can name
one.
at least 10 off the back of your hand.
Doesn't even matter what the number is.
10.
The correct answer is everything that's not Obama.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
And
this is the thing.
Problem.
Is that a problem in our history? No, but we should respect what our history was and atone and learn from it. The idea is now moving forward that we accept the fact that any possibility is open.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it can't still be a white guy, because if the white guy is the right choice, it's still the right choice.
Let the person who with the best credentials go in. I'm totally fine.
And if
with
the
that.
best person happens to be a gay black woman, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if the game of the year,
I don't think.
obviously we
I
don't know
think
what's coming out.
Hillary-
Okay, we're
I don't
let's
think
not
Hillary
do the
will-
political game.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to go political.
But like, let's take it back to video games. 5 years from now, if you tell me if future me comes back and says, by the way, game of the year in 2025 is going to be a trans Asian character, and I'd be like, cool. If the game is that amazing, cool. And
Yeah.
if
I'd
he comes
say
back
I
and
wanna
says,
play
oh,
it.
by the way, 2026, just regular white guy, my answer will still be the same. Fucking cool. Can't wait to play it.
Have you so I'll mention it. Have you heard of this game called a movie called Paranorman?
Yes, watched it.
Yeah, it was a really good movie, and at the end, it turned out one of the characters was gay, and you didn't even notice until the end. They just
Because it's
mentioned
not
it.
always that obvious.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that relevant. It was just like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Like
And
I
it
said,
was just-
it just comes down to the fact of like, it never should matter.
Yeah.
It never should.
And even I'll one last example I'll use is Onward. There was one
Oh,
character.
the
she
new
was
one, right?
Pardon?
The new movie, right?
Yeah, the Pixar
Pixar movie.
movie. And there was one female character. She was a cameo character, but she's a well-known comedian, I believe. And her character mentioned her girlfriend, and it's like, oh, okay. It was like mentioning like any couple, and it was just like, okay, cool. It didn't fucking matter at the slightest.
Yeah.
So big fucking deal. Like, let the diversity happen. It doesn't change. Don't force it, but just fucking let it happen. Like, life goes
And even
on.
and the thing is
and
even if
it's
it's
a different
forced,
world.
it really won't matter much if the content's amazing. That's the other key thing too.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
It stands out if it happens in a game and the game is absolute garbage, then it stands out. That's the problem too. By the way, and this goes to people on the SJW side. If you want stuff in games, put those people's feet to the fire too, because if they make a shit game, it looks bad for you guys too. Let's also keep that in mind. But yeah. So to close it out, even though I said to close it out like 5,000 times already on the show, we all can agree.
Madden is phenomenal.
No, thank you for ruining that. The most important thing, obviously, right now, is that Black lives do indeed matter. But because we're the VCR podcast, we're going to go one step further, because Black gamers matter. And let's keep that in mind as we move forward, because this industry can be so much better if we can just follow that.
yeah, 100%.
So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking us out on the VCR podcast. Hopefully next week, our plan is because the rumor is that the PS5 reveal might be the 12th of June, which is on a Friday. So the plan that we're thinking is that we might do a shorter show Wednesday, like we normally record on Wednesdays. It's Thursdays we're recording this, so this one's going to be a bit later than usual. Our plan is to record a short show on Wednesday, assuming that this other show is on Friday. So you'll have 2 videos potentially next week. That's our plan. We'll see what happens. If everything's up in the air, we don't know what's going on because everything's changing at the seat of our pants. We have no fucking idea what's coming tomorrow. So
Literally, in all fairness, a fucking zombie apocalypse could start in the morning. And
I
be
really
like,
hope not, because I know I won't live very long in it.
You're the best at Left 4 Dead, though. You should technically be the best one.
I mean, technically I should, but you guys never defend me, so I usually die before the end anyway.
I don't think Adam has ever shot a real gun in his life, though.
I have, just not very well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have. I didn't like it.
I did. It was fun. And
So
I'm pretty good at it.
So that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. So if you are watching this on YouTube, in the description below, we have our Discord channel if you guys want to join us there. Obviously, comment below with all your thoughts on it. Doesn't matter what it's about, whether it's stuff that we talked about or stuff we missed. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and share this with all your friends. If you're listening to this on any audio platform that we're on, I think we might actually be on Stitcher now. I got to go check that. I think I finally fixed that problem. But obviously being on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other available places. If you have the ability to rate us, please 5-star us, and don't forget to share that with all your friends as well. So, on behalf of the other guys, like I said, Black lives fucking matter, and everybody should be considered a part of this community. So
And
let's do that.
Don't be an asshole. Just don't fucking be an asshole.
I think that's a pretty good thing to say for everybody.
Yeah.
But
That's
thank.
across.
But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it. So thank you so much, and we'll see you when hopefully the world's a little bit better.